driving at night, windowless ride, feeling alive. Nothing in sight, forever in flight. Follow those lines, we'll make it this time. Blurry street lights, work as a guide to memories that we're making tonight. Oh yeah, we'll make it tonight. Yeah. I'll do anything that I feel like I wanna do. I'm living life like I got nothing left to prove. No end in sight, just always staying on the move. I'll go all night if that's just what I gotta do. Life's too short to care about what you can't afford. Memories are in what you explore, so just don't be ignored. Go ask for more, go ask for more. 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down. 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I wanna visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I wanna visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? Flashing red lights, driving at night, windowless ride, feeling alive. Nothing in sight, forever in flight. Follow those lines, we'll make it this time. Blurry street lights, work as a guide to memories that we're making tonight. Oh yeah, we'll make it tonight. Yeah. I'll do anything that I feel like I wanna do. I'm living life like I got nothing left to prove. No end in sight, just always staying on the move. I'll go all night if that's just what I gotta do. Life's too short to care about what you can't afford. Memories are in what you explore, so just don't be ignored. Go ask for more, go ask for more. 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I wanna visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I wanna visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? I'm in a race that everybody's chasing fast. They wanna be that someone on the screen at last. They ain't looking inside for their needs in life. They wanna be liked by everybody in sight. But trust me, being free ain't spotlights. No, it's long nights and it's long fights with yourself all the time to get your mind right. But if you put in the work, you can find the light, alright? I'll do anything that I feel like I wanna do. I'm living life like I got nothing left to prove. No end in sight, just always staying on the move. I'll go all night if that's just what I gotta do. Life's too short to care about what you can't afford. Memories are in what you explore, so just don't be ignored. Go ask for more, go ask for more.
Right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for starting a little bit late. We were actually waiting on Tom, and alas, he's still not here. So, not really a big deal, but just to explain why we were running a little bit behind. And other individuals will be rocking up. They are running late as well, but look, it is what it is. Welcome to the Hcast, your favorite podcast, episode number 83. We obviously have, like you can see in the title, a Godzilla -1 review. It will be non-spoilers. I say spoilers, it'll be non-spoilers, guys. Don't want to spoil it for myself. I actually haven't seen it. This is a review from Culture, so we will get to that. Loads of Disney stuff to cover, and I know loads of people go, "Oh, Disney rolls eyes." They're the biggest company in the industry, and it's fascinating stuff because where they go, generally speaking, other studios follow, or if they crumble, other studios succeed and move forwards with some form of succession within the industry. So we do have to cover this stuff because it has quite big ramifications. There's some good news, some bad news. It's all interesting, though. Obviously, we like to cover that, interesting stuff here. Few things to get out the way, ladies and gents. If you want to support the show, fan funding is a big thing here. We get demonetized all the time. So super chats are the way to do that. We have some absolutely fantastic, awesome people dropping super chats here with very interesting questions and input. and you get your question read out or comment read out. It can be about what we're talking about, but it can also be something else entirely, whatever you wish us to discuss. Memberships of the channel, please do become a member. Always a massive shout out to the first person to become a member during a stream. It's always good fun. And also super stickers, patrons there as well, all linked down below. But I am joined by not a large panel, Culture Casino. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited as always. This show is one of my favorite places to be. This is everybody's favorite podcast, including mine. And we've got a lot of news to talk about. A lot of it's interconnected, as you mentioned, and I'm stoked. I'm stoked. I've been working hard. Yeah, we're getting close to having an outro for the show now. I'm happy, man. I don't know about you, but I'm happy.
Good.
It's good Thursday.
Good. We that is one of the things that a few people are commenting on the intro. We debuted it 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah,
I had to take a week off because it was a week, wasn't it? I took a week.
Yeah, you took a week off, and then we took last Thursday off because it was Thanksgiving here in the States. So
yeah. So we debuted it a little while ago.
Yeah.
We're trying to up some of the quality here on the show. Of course, you guys obviously like the show. You keep coming back to it, so we're just investing a little bit more time in making some bits. Make the show run a bit smoother. So, intros to specific topics, intros to the podcast, outros to the podcast, that sort of thing. So hopefully you, ladies and gents in the stream right now, appreciate that anyway, because it's quite literally for you guys. So it would be good if you did. We do have first super chat of the evening. We'll get to this before we shuffle on to one of our main topics. And it's actually from Devin Knox for $5. Says, will the English version of Godzilla be dubbed or subbed? So without going into too much detail, was it dubbed or subbed?
No, it's subtitled. It's in Japanese full.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
There are 5 maybe total English words.
But they're from English. They're meant to be English.
Yeah. It's more than that. Technically, it's like a radio report, like from a period of time in history.
Good.
Yeah, it's very, very well done. And
don't reveal too much.
No spoilers. No, I'm not saying anything.
This is just answering the question.
Yeah.
Good. Perfect. There you go, Devin. Hopefully that's actually something that you want to know. Hopefully that's the answer that you wanted to hear, because when it's Japanese stuff, there's very few things that I like being dubbed from the JDM.
It would feel inauthentic.
Element. There you go. Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that. So yeah, there you go. Also, just real quick, we've got this from Accent Seller for 50 Norwegian kroner. Says US Defense Department has bought Disney as the House of Mouse have produced more bombs in a year than they could ever dream of. Yeah, I stole that from Babylon B. That is comedy gold either way, though. I do appreciate you dropping that here on the podcast. So I think I think that should take us quite nicely off to our first topic. I was hoping Tom to be here as well, but it doesn't matter. We'll kind of cruise into this with Culture Casino. Right, guys, I have not seen Godzilla -1 yet. Culture Casino has. We're going to be doing a non-spoiler review, as non-spoilery as possible. I don't think there's really anything that needs to be said which is in the spoiler territory. I don't know, but we're going to be doing a non-spoiler review discussion. So I haven't seen it, but I will ask questions. You guys can ask questions via the super chats as well. Give me your review of Godzilla -1.
Incredibly fun film, unbelievably low budget. I mean, that's the thing that's stunning to me I'm just the special effects, the compositing, all of it. But if I'm going to give you a rating,
when you say unbelievably low budget, doesn't sound like a compliment.
It is. It's extraordinary. Okay, so we just got featured a bunch of.
I've just got to say, normally people preface that and they go, "It looks amazing for the budget." You went unbelievably low budget.
Well, because it looks way more expensive. Universal spends $200 million.
Right,
yeah, Universal spends $200 million. Toho spends $15 million. $15 million looks better than $200 million. That's all I've got to say.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It was
just the way
staggering.
you read it, mate.
Well, it was kind of out of order, but you're right. But I saw it on IMAX. If you can see this film, see it on the biggest possible screen you can. It is mind blowing. I don't praise movies very often. So to have me excited and super pumped about something, let me preface it with this. The crowd was super excited in this IMAX theater that was almost nearly full when the movie started. By the time the film, like the initial part of the film had gotten going, my entire IMAX theater, this massive theater, is full. The crowd's out of control, cheering as the movie starts. When we got to the end, this is the most telling thing. People were raucously clapping and cheering for the film. You don't get that in movies anymore. You don't get an enthusiastic audience that feels satisfied at the end. I gave it an 8.5. It could easily be a 9 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't give anything 10s. I mean, you have to be a perfect movie to get a 10. It's hard to get a 9, but 8.5. Yeah. Now, I will say this. Go in there, expect it to be a rubber monster movie. Do not expect that you'll be able to separate some of the ridiculousness from this film, because you can't in the genre. You just can't. Much like a Godzilla film that you would see, Godzilla versus Kong, let's say, the last one that they did for Universal Legendary. This particular iteration is more traditional. You're gonna see, instead of the highly detailed scales and all of that, you're gonna see a film that is put together in a way that it looks like you're looking at an older film. So there's film grain, there's color timing, or whatever you want to call that. It is perfectly done. You feel like you were watching an old, brand new Godzilla movie set in the 1940s Japan, post-war, and just brilliantly assembled. This was
How
clearly
much post-war?
Just after, or just as the war is ending. Yeah. Okay. And so you go through a series of years in the 40s post-war. I think the last year you get to is 47. So, but it's really, really well done. Your introduction to Godzilla is early on. Godzilla is only featured in the scenes that he needs to be featured in. The focus on people in this film is not like what they do with Universal. It's not driven by like annoying characters. Legendary, Universal, same thing. That's the same. I mean, it's both of them, right? Am I wrong?
No, Legendary has the rights.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, anyway,
they just partner with distribution studios.
Okay, but all right, fair enough. You're right. But anyway, moving back. So Legendary. So unlike the way they do it, this film gives you a story that you care about, with characters that you'll care about, with a storyline that you'll care about. The primary actors, there are two of them. They're brilliant. You will recognize two actors in this film at a certain point when they were farther along in the story. I'm not spoiling anything, guys, and not even the people that are in it. But it does focus around one primary character, Mr. Shashikima. And I think that's how you say the name. But you don't need, first of all, the acting at times is brilliant, and at times it is overacting like you would get from a Godzilla movie. I'm sorry, just take yourself back in time to those old ones. The monster is brilliantly done. It's a mix of practical effects and composites. The compositing over layer CGI makes anything that anybody's done recently, like Disney and DC, look trash. And again, keep in mind, $15 million budget. The atomic heat ray that Godzilla uses is beautiful. And there are moments in this film where you're just cheering. I don't go to films and get excited about them like that. And like, again, I took somebody with me, and the group of people we were with is massive. But I took somebody with me. We went and sat there, and both of us enjoyed it. You're gonna chuckle a few times because there are some ridiculous things. Ships don't move that quickly when they're the size that the ships are. There's conversations to be had around realistic things, but outside of that, down to the plan and everything else that they come up with, it's perfect. Godzilla, this is a perfect film, and it explains some things in the lore that I don't think are really ever explained in the past. So yeah, there's going to be elements of like how, like, Godzilla's like existence, and the speculation around it, and the fact that they're actively speculating about everything about this creature, as things unfold.
Right, they're literally in the film.
Yeah, and it's wonderful because there's a lot of people in the background. The background acting was phenomenal, incredible. But they also
Mhm.
have to sometimes overact because again, this is done largely practically, which is I
Right.
guess really the only way to do these films. And again, the scenes that we loved when Godzilla was coming into Ginza, like from the trailers, dude, there are parts of that they clipped out perfectly that when you see them in context and then you see what happens after some of those clips,
Mm.
you're just blown away. There's a moment in there, one of the most beautiful pieces of filmmaking I've seen, and it's done in slow motion and in a form of silence. But there are 2 points in this film where they use silence better than they use sound. And and
Mm.
and 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 the sound in this, another reason to see it in a big format in a big theater with a proper sound system is ridiculous. They use
Mm.
sound better than I've seen in a long time, especially with Godzilla's actions. But there's a moment where for I think a solid 15 seconds it's silence, and it has to be because what the action's happening on the screen is mesmerizing. It's unbelievable.
Mm.
It's in silence. It's in slow motion. It's I'm telling you, whew,
So okay.
you're gonna hate me. You're gonna hate me when you see the movie. You're gonna be mad. You're gonna be mad.
I well, I'm struggling. I'm struggling to find places to be able to watch it, to be honest. But
Oh,
let me ask some questions now. Then, so you'd strongly recommend it?
yeah. If you
Mm.
actually enjoy Godzilla movies, proper ones, this is a movie
Mm.
for you. If you are looking to have a good time and check your brain at the door, this is a movie for you. There are going to be a couple of big asks, not as many as most modern films, but there's a couple. I mean, you have to just realize there's this giant.
Are they in keeping of kaiju films?
Oh, indeed. Oh, yeah. This is right
Right, it's
in.
not a big ask
No,
then.
no, no, no,
That's what I
no.
mean.
And but again, the story behind it takes you back to like some of the origin films for Godzilla and
Mm.
and that. But you only need Godzilla as much as he's presented, so he's not in there the whole time. So don't think you're gonna
Yeah,
get bombed with
good.
kaiju.
Less is more anyway, so that makes sense.
It was, and I feel like the next film that comes from Toho this way, and hopefully they keep the same writer director because he was brilliant. My goodness, but
Mm.
yeah, it was. I'm very effusive and excited about this movie. So it's very very
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah,
Well, let me ask a bunch of questions.
yeah,
And FYI, that was all no spoilers, by the way, guys.
yeah. I won't do
It's not
spoilers.
spoiled
Yeah,
for you.
no, 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 no.
I mean, from that, all you got was culture loved it. So calm down in the chat. But I do want to ask some questions. So,
Yeah,
how was Godzilla's depiction of being? Because he's very, very angry. He's very aggressive, very clearly aggressive,
yeah.
and they've taken it back to they've seemingly, because I don't know, but they've seemingly taken it back to anti-war allegories, anti-nuclear war allegories, rather than Godzilla being a protector, which is kind of what he evolved into. Is this, because I've read reviews, is this very much a anti-war film?
There's some of that in there, but not really. I mean, it's not heavy-handed.
Mm,
You have a theme there, but I would say in a broader sense, it's more about life than it is about
mm.
anti-war, and that message comes through pretty strongly. But yeah, yeah, you gotta be
All right.
careful.
And how was yeah, I'm trying to think of of ways to phrase it. Was Godzilla's depiction as good as the trailers make it out to be? Because the trailers make it out to be absolutely insane. Like when he's on screen, the power that he has. Because he's not the tallest Godzilla. They've sort of downsized him again, compared to what they've done in the past. But he seems brutally powerful. Like when he's one of the things which stood out to me in the trailer was when he was walking, the
Oh
sheer
yeah,
force of the walk, literally people flying up in the air because it's demolishing the asphalt around him.
the sheer destructive power of the kaiju is on screen. I think he's almost
Mm.
more impressive when he's in the water than he even was in the
Oh,
city.
okay.
Yeah, but there are moments where I really wish they'd given me less of him standing upright. And I think you'll see
Mm,
that during the course of the film, which is one of the reasons why this is not rated higher. But again, with the money they spent, it blew my mind. That scene in Ginza, again, we've only
mm,
seen some of the clips. There are parts of that scene that is just bonkers, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody else. So, yeah.
Well, it's a Godzilla film, so he's not going to die. So this is not a spoiler question. If anyone knows anything about Godzilla, Toho never kills Godzilla. They just don't. So they obviously haven't killed him. I know that much because they just wouldn't have done it. But do they leave it in a way where this could become a new thing for Toho to continue?
Oh yeah, there's room to keep going.
Ah.
In a lot of different directions if they choose. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Closing thoughts?
There's a lot of super chats asking questions about the movie. I just have to be careful because I really don't want to spoil it for people. I have some enthusiasm. So and Tom's in the chat.
I know, but do you have closing thoughts? Yes or no?
Go see the movie. That's my closing thought. My closing thought's always going to be go see the movie. Go see the movie.
Okay. All right. Good. Right. Now we'll move on to some of these super chats. And apparently Tom wants you to read a message, apparently.
Right, does he want me to read it out loud to people? Or
probably not. It's probably telling you why he can't appear or why.
Oh no, he's mad. We didn't wait long enough. He wants to talk about Godzilla.
Well, you shouldn't have been here on time, Tom. What do you mean?
I feel bad now.
I don't care if you're mad. I sent you the invite. It starts at 7. Come on.
Right.
I'm
heartbroken now.
To the best movie podcast. Thank you so much. Well, I can't do anything about that, Tom. I've got to move the show on. Come on. What do you want me to do? Can't wait for you. We waited.
I feel bad, Tom. I'm sorry. Tom and I had
such the headliner topic. We're going to get into it. Sorry, bud. Why didn't you reply to me either?
I feel bad. It's all my fault. I didn't check my messages while we were running the show.
It's 2 people's fault. He should have messaged me. And why is he late? Did he say?
I don't know. I feel bad now. Okay.
Anyway, Jason Webster for $10 Australian says, I've seen the reaction review videos of Godzilla -1 by Tom Connors, Chris Stuckman, and Odin. And they absolutely love the film and highly recommended it. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to see it. One, thank you so much for the super chat. But yeah, I'm trying to see it. It's out in very few places close to me. So I'm struggling. Struggling. I said Culture Casino. I sent Culture Casino a text over half an hour ago.
Was it?
Okay. Saying what though?
It was 5 minutes after start time when I got that. So it's fine. I'm not going to fight with Tom. He's right. My instinct was to try to hold you off on it, and I didn't do it. So I'm bad. I'm going to be.
The show has to continue, and it's the headliner topic.
I'm going to be punished.
I'm not going to get into a debate with you about how to run my podcast. The headliner topic needs to be covered early on because people come for the headliner topic. That's it. I can't do anything about it. Accent Seller said it in 20 Norwegian kroner. Says, can't wait to see Gojira Mainaz Wone in the cinema. And then another 20 says, CC is sound. What? CC is sound is more important. Is he saying which sound is more important? THX versus IMAX versus 4DX?
Probably saying since sound is which sound is more important. THS, IMAX, or 4DX. I think you're going to get satisfied. I think the fact that I went to an actual real IMAX theater, which has the ridiculous amount of watts of power behind the audio, but I think you probably would enjoy THX Dolby Digital, and I think you would. I think you would appreciate it in all forms, whatever your theater can support. It's just get to a modern theater is what I'm trying to say. Because
get to the biggest and best cinema screen you can to watch it, essentially.
Yeah. PLF.
I don't. The 4DX cinemas, I'm not really interested in. I don't really like that.
I think that actually could blow your mind. In fact, I probably could go. I could go to a 4DX for this film because I couldn't imagine bouncing, when Godzilla steps down. It'd be crazy.
Look, Tom, if you're still in the chat, mate, if you get in anytime soon, you can review it, and I'll just splice it in with Culture's review. But
yeah, he's rolling in.
Get here soon, mate. It's half an hour. We've been starting half an hour.
Speaking of getting here soon, we do have
Nick's here. How's it going, dude?
Hey, it's going. I'm feel like I'm
Jesus.
getting a little bit of a cold or something, but other than that, I'm good.
Did you see?
Why are you not on camera? I thought you were going to be on camera from now on.
I literally just walked in the door and I didn't get cleaned up, set up my screen, my lights, nothing. I just was like racing to get in here and just jumped right on.
It's all good. It's all
Did
good.
you see?
I
was asking, did you see Godzilla? That's all I want to know.
Oh no, I have not.
All right, then you should be here anyway. So.
Oh, okay.
Idealistic Monkey sent in $5. Says anyone who hasn't seen this film should go in expecting a drama and not an action piece.
True story.
Yeah. That sounds. I mean, from the reviews I've seen, that sounds about right.
That's just right.
It came out on. It just came out on Netflix, right?
No, you're thinking about Monarch.
Oh,
that's on Apple Plus.
That's on Apple anyway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, this is Godzilla -1. This is the theatrical release by Toho.
Oh, okay.
It's special fan screenings and previews happened yesterday here in the States. It started actually screening in Norway and some other countries like a few days ago, actually. So,
did not know that.
Yeah. Anyway, was there a question I didn't answer yet? I don't remember, Nate.
Say that again.
Was there a question I didn't answer or super chat? Somebody sent one, maybe. Because I don't.
No, that was all of it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I think my thoughts on the film. I think my thoughts on the film are very plain. I will not spoil it, but I will say that it's well worth the time and money. And I can't say that about most films that run 2 hours. This one runs 2 hours 5 minutes.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
So it's better than Wish.
Yeah. Almost anything's better than Wish. I would send you to go see Trolls Band Together before I'd send you to see Wish or The Marvels. So,
right. Anyway, I'm all out of whack. Well, I've got Tom messaging me in the background. I'm trying to reply to that. Deal with all this and listen to you and trying to shuffle the conversation.
No, you're fine. Yeah,
there's a fucking lot to deal with.
So Nick, with my thoughts on the issue, you gonna go see the movie?
Am I gonna go see it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was definitely planning on seeing it. I didn't know it was. I've been so out of the loop with Thanksgiving and family and all that sort of stuff and running around all over the place. I completely forgot it was even coming out. But yeah, I always was planning on going and seeing it for sure.
Cool. I think
unless somebody was like, "Oh God, this was a disaster. Don't waste your time or money."
No, and Nate, you know what the domestic estimates here in the States were going to be for the movie?
They're quite low, weren't they? I thought
8.1 million.
I was like, it's going to blow that out of the water. That's like opening night.
I'm like, my IMAX was full. There were hundreds of people in my IMAX.
That's got to be opening night, I would have imagined.
Oh, opening night's going to be bonkers. Yeah.
But it is already opened.
Well, no, last night was a special fan screening and special previews. We have the real previews are tonight, and then it officially opens tomorrow. Or I guess technically, it opens tomorrow on Friday.
Yeah. I'll go see it Saturday.
Yeah. So,
do you know how many theaters it's got or not?
It's embarrassingly low. I think it's something like I think it's in that 3,000, the lower 3,000 range, like 3,700 theaters. Let me double check.
Not bad.
Yeah, but it's not as big as it should. Or it might be less than that. Let me double check because that's a very important.
We've got Tom here. So
hey,
Tom, do you want to share your thoughts on just review the film for me or for us, so we can all get to grips with what you think of it?
Well, probably one of the best Godzilla movies ever.
Oh wow! Okay.
Say much more than that now. I mean, you guys already talked about it for a bit, so I don't want to drag it out too far.
No. Honestly, the floor is yours. Give us your actual review.
No spoilers.
Yeah, that's
no spoilers.
Because it's kind of tough to spoil it, but at the same time, it's a Godzilla movie. So what do you expect? I mean, it lives up to your expectations as far as that goes. I mean, it's a very concentrated story compared to some of the earlier Godzilla films where they're like scattered over a bunch of different characters. This is very concentrated on a specific group of characters. if you've seen the trailer, you already kind of know what to expect, but they do a really great job with capturing at least in my opinion, of course I wasn't alive then, but at least in my opinion, capturing kind of the essence and the reality of the era that it takes place in. And it does kind of jump through some time compared to what you may think in the trailer, but it does a really good job of just kind of building up this idea of, this country that has been destroyed. Through this one character, you're kind of living through, the trauma of war and the kind of stuff that the Japanese soldiers probably had to deal with. And there's a lot in here that I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there's been a lot of Japanese films that have covered this kind of stuff, but I highly doubt it in this kind of like pop culture kind of nature as far as like with Godzilla. Cause I mean, you're sitting here looking at it like we're how many Godzilla films deep now? 30 some deep. Close to it.
Many,
yeah, close to that, somewhere in there. So it's like, how can you keep this fresh? How can you keep this original? And I've had a lot of people ask me, well, does he fight anybody or anything? Spoilers, no. There's nothing for him to fight because this is a straight Godzilla movie. This is one of those Godzilla films where he is the force of nature to have to deal with. And I like that sometimes. You kind of got to go back to the basics. I mean, as far as the remakes or the reboots go of the original Godzilla, this is the best one. Knocks the park out of so many others. The special effects are amazing. The stories, just really well paced. You don't have to worry about waiting 10 years to see Godzilla. I actually missed the first 5 minutes because they didn't even start with previews or nothing. I was like, wow. Yeah, like I walked in at 2:04 and Godzilla's already there. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, it kind of sucks when you walk into a Godzilla movie and all of a sudden you're like, what?
Yeah. What about the music? Because there's such an iconic Godzilla's theme is so iconic.
I loved the Dolby Atmos mix soundtrack. I got to see it in a Dolby. I didn't get to see it in the IMAX. I got to see it in it was like a standard screen when I was a kid.
Your sound just went wonky, bro.
Oh man.
Yep.
You turned on a flash or something.
You've gone robot, Tom.
My stuff finally kicked in. That's why.
Oh wow.
Anyway, I don't know what happened there, but yeah, like my screen just loaded up. It's still on.
Yeah.
I can't turn it off.
Oh no. That's crazy.
Good review, Tom.
That was crazy.
Hang on.
He's a dragon man.
He got so excited with Godzilla minus one.
There you go. You're back.
Yeah.
There it is.
Anyway, enjoyed the film. I don't want to say much more than that because you start getting into spoilers. So yeah. But I had a few minor problems, but other than that, like there's stuff that I couldn't even tell. I couldn't believe it was CGI.
Yeah.
They made it for $15 million. I mean, sure, part of that is probably because they didn't pay anybody, but
so good.
Yeah. What atomic breath? Because from the trailer, it looks like his spines come up and then come down when he shoots it. That's all part of it? Yeah.
Yeah, he revs up like a nuclear reactor.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Cool.
And basically, like his breath is basically like he just shoots it out like a nuclear missile. Whatever it hits, just nukes.
Wow. Okay.
And this is all spoken Japanese with English subtitles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. Again, a few people in the chat saying no spoilers. That's in a trailer. It's not a spoiler.
Yeah, we're not doing
that.
Spoilers.
Is literally in a trailer. I'm asking, is what the trailer shows correct? So it's not a spoiler. Please calm.
This
down.
is a Godzilla movie for Godzilla fans. Like Shin Godzilla was a movie for a lot of different people, not so much for Godzilla fans. This movie is straight up for Godzilla fans.
It's so cool.
Well, someone who was a bit apprehensive about it is Andre. What do you think about?
Well, I only heard the last thing, but that actually made me nervous. If Tom says that Shin Godzilla, which I absolutely loved, was not
That's why I said
Godzilla fans, whereas this one is for Godzilla fans, and I find 99.5% of Godzilla movies to be utterly unwatchable. But still, looking at the trailers, I'm excited. And you know what? If this is the movie that can make fans happy, then that's the most important thing. If it can make me happy at the same time, that's a bonus. I will see it regardless. I will give my honest assessment, but I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic regardless here. And hey, if this one isn't for me after all, if it's strictly only for the fans, you know what I say to that? Good. It should be for the fans, because I'm obviously not in the primary audience here. If it just so happens to be that the rest of the fans love it and me not so much, hey, can't win them all over. I still got my Shin Godzilla, so it's win-win. And
that's really
I hear now that the fans love it. That means that the movie is a success already. And Nick, to your point about it being in Japanese with English subtitles, that's the only freaking way to see this movie. Dubbing is evil and it is bad. And I'm sorry for all of you who saw the original movies dubbed, but you saw them wrong.
That's the way I grew up with them, though. And that's part of the charm, though.
Yeah. Same.
That is kind of part of the charm for me. Like, to me, I mean, I would love to see a version of this that's in English. Now, Shin Godzilla, not so much. See, because that's like a totally different film than the other movies, to where this is more of a semi-remake of the original film, but it's more from the perspective of basically one individual more so.
Because I have never liked dubbing, and now when I temporarily reside in dubbing land, I've gone from not liking dubbing to really fucking hating dubbing.
No, in most cases of foreign film, I don't want to see dubbing. But when it comes to like kung fu films or Godzilla, I can make the exception just because that's the way I grew up with them.
Exactly. So then you have then you have the nostalgia, and I get that because that's just the way that.
Now this movie is one that it's a little more serious than any of the other Godzilla films in that kind of vein, right? It's more in the vein of Shin Godzilla as far as the seriousness.
Yeah, that's what has me excited, because I saw the trailer.
But it does have some levity in it. There's some moments where the theater did laugh at a few things, but it was like they were supposed to, right? It was meant to be that way.
As long as you laugh with the movie and not at it, it's all good. Like, for instance, with the original, like, I love the original. No, I don't love it. I respect the original Godzilla. And everything between that and Shin Godzilla, I don't even laugh. I don't laugh with. I don't laugh at. I groan at it because it's
I'll give you a great example when the audience all laughed together and it was meant to be that way. You're sitting there, and it's not a spoiler, but like they say, oh, they think we got him or whatever, and all of a sudden you're just quiet, and then you see a big fucking Navy ship go flying across the fucking screen. You're like, oh yeah, they got him all right.
Right. Well, let's shuffle on. I'm glad we got your thoughts though, Tom. Very glad we got your thoughts. We've got to shuffle on. I've got quite a lot to get through today, actually. Just real quick, culture. There's only a few things.
Yeah, I'm still working to see if we can get more. So, but I'm trying to keep up.
All right.
Sorry.
Cool. Well, my pace is off, but we'll shuffle on to this one, shall we? Right. So, what's been happening? Well, there's this big summit event. It's not really that big. There's a bit of a circle jerk for CEOs and rich people. New York Times summit where they just get on a stage and talk. And Bob Iger was there. And he blamed the Marvel's failure on some very strange stuff. Lack of supervision during filming and COVID, which he's blamed both of them on. That's why it failed. So doesn't really make any sense to me. So he says this: the Marvels was shot during COVID. There wasn't as much supervision on the set, so to speak, where we have executives that are really looking over what's being done day after day after day. Now, a few things to take into account there. This was shot 2021, finished in 2022. It was shot in the UK. Nothing changed in the UK for films. Nothing at all. You could just film. People could be there. Executives could be there. So who's he blaming exactly? Who's he blaming? Who's he blaming? What's he blaming? What's going on?
Yeah,
out of his arsehole.
Can I also just point out that if you had done your freaking job in advance and you actually had a filmable script and you had a plan going in, you wouldn't need that kind of detailed supervision. Then you could trust the people assigned to do this to actually do it. But this only goes to show just how incompetent Kevin Feige is as president of production, because this is something that has gone out the way. Like the Kevin Feige way of doing things is, oh, let's just film it as it is and we fix it in
post.
Yeah,
just fix it in post, do a bit of reshoot.
Now suddenly that's an issue.
Wasn't Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning shot during COVID?
Yeah,
Yeah.
There was so many things.
COVID was 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
It was
Spider-Man No Way Home.
It was actually pretty funny. It was like Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. It was partially filmed in Norway, like that big stunt when like the jumping. That's in Norway. So like that thing which is supposed to be in Austria or something. Most of those stuff like that's in Norway, and it was actually filmed at the hotel where the boss of my wife was getting married that weekend at the hotel. So you have like in their wedding pictures, you have like the guest that just came in and crashed the wedding, Tom Cruise.
Brilliant.
Huh.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's cool.
But anyway, keeping us sort of back on topic a little bit here. I mean, this is the blame game. We thought it was going to happen. They threw the director under the bus for a little bit, and now they're trying to blame COVID for some unbeknownst reason.
There was another thing he was saying. It was too many sequels. Was another thing too.
That's something else entirely. We'll jump onto that as well.
Oh, okay.
That's very rich of him to say.
Yeah, well, again, separate sort of topic we're going to be covering, but it's more specifically this blame game, because at the end of the day, this whole thing about executives, there's a few things to sort of cover with that. Is that you have executives in the UK for Marvel anyway, so and I don't see where the excuse is, because our borders were open. People were coming and going as they pleased anyway. So it's not as if people couldn't come over. It's not as if the government actually implemented any shutdown on media filming, because that was allowed. That was an exempt industry. It was considered to be such a high-end industry, like absolute, we need this. So they just kept that going. And also, if you didn't have executives there, you've only got yourself to blame, surely. And then again, I mean, that negates all of that. Is all fine on face value. You know, you can rip that apart, but it goes back to what you said as well, which is the main course of all of these things. The main problem with all of these things is that they just don't have good scripts. They never lock a script down. They never get it set in stone. They're always doing constant reshoots. And it's like, you've got to take some responsibility at some point, for goodness sake.
Well,
insane.
He says that they didn't have executives on looking over what's being done day after day. To me, that sounds like too much micromanaging already. The executives are already part of the fucking problem.
Yep.
And then you go by what Nia DaCosta said. It sounded like to her. I mean, basically, you got to read between the lines, but look, she's basically saying, I'm a director for hire. They took 3 years of my fucking life that I'll never get back. Right. And this movie is probably going to be the biggest blotch on her resume for the rest of her life, even though it has one little caveat for it. And that is, it made her the highest grossing female director of all time, but it's to one of the biggest bombs of all time.
Actually, by the time all is said and done, she is going to be the director of the biggest, most money-losing movie of all time.
That's what I just said. Yeah,
dropping in theaters, and she's the first female black director to do it as well. So yeah,
that's basically what I just said. But yeah, like I mean, so she's got like this highlight of being able to say, "Yeah, I'm the biggest black female director of all time," but I've also directed the biggest bomb of all time in the same movie. So like,
it's so funny.
And then you got, to me, it's like if the executives weren't there, then what's the excuse other than you were already vicariously there? Because otherwise, then why didn't they just take control of the situation? Because if they're so creative, look, anytime I've ever heard of a movie where the executives kind of ignore it is when we get some of those gems that come out of Hollywood, right? MASH was one of those movies that the studio was worried about other shit. So they ignored MASH, and MASH got through the system the way it was, because they knew darn well if anybody was paying attention to that movie, they'd have never got it through. Ninja Turtles was a great example. The sequel shows you exactly what happens when the executives get too worried about everything, every little nitpicky thing. right? That's what happens in a lot of these sequels. That's when the executives all feel like they got to interject their little 2 cents into this thing, and that's what the Marvel Universe's whole problem is you've got 3 or 4 different people who, and this is things we've heard ourselves, where they all are quote unquote in charge, but they all want different things.
Wasn't that the main? That was the main thing they were blaming. Too many executive producers on board for the TV shows, wasn't it? That was the actual reason they gave for the TV shows being terrible. Was we need showrunners, not executive producers.
Yes,
that was literally their own excuse.
But it's true. That's
no, I know. But now they're like, this failed because we didn't have enough. Like, what?
No, that's bullshit. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. My point is like, no, that was part of the problem already. You had too much oversight already.
Oh God, it's so funny. These people.
And it was the wrong oversight. That's the thing too, as Andre will tell you. The people that should have been in charge were the ones that Chapek put in charge, and Bob Iger came in and immediately dismantled that whole thing.
But everything he does is in disingenuous. He's never authentic when he talks to anybody. He's always talking around a question. He's never actually answering it. So even if you get him at a town hall, even if you get him at like one of these deal book things, even if you get him anywhere where you can actually interview him, he's not answering anybody's question. He's talking around them, and he's using a lot of spin and buzzwords. And he always contradicts himself, oftentimes within the same interview. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Super funny. Super funny. Oh dear. Andre, you got any more to add onto that one?
I think everyone has summed it up real nice. I'm starting to wonder. Because as Culture pointed out, like, he contradicts himself constantly, and we mentioned, like, he's like, it's too many sequels. Well, it was just 2 earnings call ago that he was bragging about all the sequels they were going to do. So constantly contradicts himself. And if someone were to make a video of his statements over time, he'd look like a complete idiot. I'm starting to wonder, like, not only is he like, has he completely botched it with all these contradictions? I mean, starting to suffer from some early Alzheimer's or something? Is he?
This guy's senile.
He's starting to be a little bit senile.
You never know.
I think he's got so many sides of his mouth that he's talked out of now, Andre. He forgets which side it is.
That's probably the more correct answer. But like, if any of us,
which did I say last time?
Or like shifting that much all the time, I mean, or certainly if someone in that age, I would start like wondering. But yeah, no, like, this is a different Bob Iger that's come back, because before maybe he was just good at pulling wool over everyone's heads. He was good at ruling a company when everything was going smoothly and there were a ton of money to pick from. But now, when everything has gone to hell because of him and not because of Chapek, but that was completely ridiculous. How he always tries to blame, I was so disappointed with what Chapek was doing, so I tried to distance myself. Yeah, by undermining him every single step of the way in public, and thereby sabotaging him and your own company. Like, and also the interview where it was complete total joke there and everything, as I'm sure we'll get back to later. But yeah.
Well, no, and here's the thing is, he's the one guy you can point to and say the woke is what destroyed him. Because before the woke, he was the one executive who he bought Pixar, he bought Star Wars, and he bought Marvel. And when it came to Pixar and Marvel, for the longest time until the woke factor, he just let them run as they were. The only thing he really did was he stretched Lasseter a little too far. Because he's like, well, now not only are you going to be heading up Pixar, you're going to be overseeing Disney Animation as well. And in that case, that's where people started getting confused of, well, what's Pixar and what's Disney now? Because Wreck-It Ralph sure feels like a Pixar movie, but it doesn't say Pixar over it. You know what I mean? Like, for example. But then you get to the woke factor. That's when he excised Ike Perlmutter, inserted this whole thing with Captain Marvel and all this crap, and let Feige and those guys do that crap. And from Star Wars from the start, like, that was the whole thing, is KK was on board with this thing, and that was that turning point inside where they were getting the incentive to go with the ESG stuff, as Andre has done many great videos about, and where, basically that's where this money comes in, And to be able to get that money, to be able to get those loans, you have to get these points. Right, Andre, basically so much?
Pretty much.
Hmm.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you
A
could
rating
get
system.
loans before. It's like it's not new money. It's the same money that now suddenly have strings attached. And they needed a lot of money to buy Fox.
Yeah. Oh dear, oh dear. Super funny. The blame game. I always like it when the blame game happens.
Yeah.
I'm just basking in the glory that we're not to blame this time for a change. Bunch of
Oh, give it time.
misogynists and sexists.
Well, I'll
and
give you an
bigots.
example of how what Bob was doing can work. New Line Cinema had the same thing happen to them with Ted Turner. Ted Turner came in and he got involved in the company. He's like, I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to give you guys more money to keep doing what you're already doing. And that kind of mentality got us to Lord of the Rings. And once Lord of the Rings happened and Warner Brothers saw, oh, New Line Cinema is more than just this little house that Freddie built, that's when they decided to just dissolve it and make it Warner Brothers. And that's now New Line Cinema is nothing more than a label now. And they used to be one of the greatest indie, quote unquote, majors out there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I mean, that's the irony, but that's where Bob fucked up.
Yeah, it totally was, because the time went by, it was a huge hit, and then he forgot what made it a hit.
Right. Well, I think we should get to some super chats before we shuffle on to a very, very funny topic with respect to Bob Iger. You guys are going to love it.
Oh, yeah.
So, Gypsy Danny Mixboy for $1.99 says Turbo Kid does Fallout better than this show will. Oh, to do a Fallout. Yeah, we spoke about Fallout. Yeah, I've had some pushback from my video on that. Not understanding why. I mean, even the duplicate power armor for starters, lazy. Nah, I stand by it. It looks like it's going to be shit. Simon Polsky, would you rank this movie above Shin Godzilla? Culture, Tom?
I think they're
Yes.
in tandem. I think they're in tandem, but I would, like Tom, I would give the edge to this film. Just because, again, this feels like the most authentic Godzilla film we've had in a long time.
I mean, this is how you do a remake, if you ask me. Like, this is one of those great examples of how you do a remake. You don't have to just completely redo exactly the first film. You take what made the first film what it was, the essence of it.
Cool.
And because I didn't have very high expectations going into this. Like, I mean, I thought it was going to be good. I thought it was going to look good, but I thought, oh, this is probably going to come off like a bit of a pretentious Godzilla film. You could say that about it in some ways, but no, it is a good movie on top of being a great Godzilla movie. And like I said, it might be the best Godzilla movie ever. I know that's a tall friggin' order, but I mean, it doesn't really deviate from who the character is. There's no major changes to the character, really. Or the whole kind of idea, or how it works. So in that respect, I mean, there's no super whammon that's the answer to everything.
Wait, Tom, you'll love this next question then. Did G-Boy crush the patriarchy before the end credits? Just for you, Tom.
This has a very good male character, but to get too deep into it would give away too much of the plot.
Okay, no, well, I think
like the main lead character is a guy, and you follow him through the whole story, basically. I mean, his small group of friends, basically. But yeah.
Okay. D sent in $20 says Bob has no idea what is going on. Why he has not been fired is surprising. We'll get on to that. So we'll get to that. Olaf Van S, been a member for 13 months and is the greatest moderator of all time in the chat. Says Bob shows how detached he is with the reality and how much focus there is on their ideology. Doesn't need to make money, just pushing more message. Yes. And again, there's so much stuff we'll get on to today.
Speaking of message, you can almost say there's a pro-life message in Godzilla.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, in a couple different forms, yeah.
In other words, you're saying that it's going to get hammered in reviews in the States.
It's subtle. It's
people
subtle.
Are loving the.
Yeah, it's getting like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, mate, it's smashing it. Jason Webster sent $5 Says Bob Iger is the Mr. Magoo of Hollywood. Totally oblivious to the messy causes. Oh, Bob, you've done it again. Fucking love that. Kalechi sent $5 says Iger can never take responsibility for anything. Yes. Drunk 3PO mentioned this. He's still blaming Chapek for stuff like he was only there 10 months ago. Yes. And there's some comments which we'll get to again, which will highlight this as well. And it's absolutely absurd. But first, I want to get on to something which I think we're all going to enjoy. It is quite funny. So our next topic, please. So Bob Iger was not the only one at this event talking about stuff, this big circle jerk of important people, CEOs and whatever. Elon Musk was there. And he was asked about Twitter and X and all the people, advertisers leaving it. And he basically told everyone to go F yourself, go F yourself, go F yourself, whatever. And he specifically called out Bob's name. Go F yourself, Bob, if you're still in the audience. Go F yourself.
I love that.
Wow.
There's some context to that.
Well, it's quite insane, but we've got a whole video to show just to watch it, guys, because it is quite funny. And he's right. I'm not a massive Elon Musk proponent because he's not the free speech advocate everyone thinks he is. He has been in the past, silencing certain bits and pieces and things where it benefits him. He's not the free speech absolutist that people make him out to be. So I'm not a massive proponent of him, but I do think this is funny and give him some props where it's due. So here we go.
On that note, I will say at the end he kind of loses it a little bit, but yeah, go ahead. I'll expand on that when we're done listening to it.
And obviously, that there's a public perception that, and you're clarifying this now, but there's a public perception that was part of a apology tour, if you will. That this had been said online. There was all of the criticism. There was advertisers leaving. We talked to Bob Iger
I hope
today.
they stop.
You hope?
Don't advertise.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go fuck yourself.
But
go
speechless.
Fuck yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
Well, let me ask you then.
That's how I feel.
The guy asking the questions is like not even sure what to say next.
Yeah,
like, shit.
He just had like a nuclear meltdown down in his brain because this is not supposed to happen. He's expecting Elon Musk to come here and be all kinds of apologetic and stuff, and he isn't, and he can't handle it.
I love it. There is more to this because
I was going to say, wasn't that the prediction? Is that he was going to come out and apologize? Sorry, Nate, I didn't mean to.
Yeah. Basically, I think that's what people thought he was going to do. And that's why he said, this is the sort of apology tour, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, fuck off. Like, absolutely fuck off.
I'll keep you going.
There's more. Yeah, there's more to it, yeah.
How do you think then about the economics of X? If part of the underlying model, at least today, and maybe it needs to shift, maybe the answer is it needs to shift away from advertising. If you believe that this is the one part of your business where you will be beholden to those who have this view, what do you do?
F-Y.
I understand that, but there's a reality too, right?
Yes. No.
I mean, Linda Yaccarino's right here, and she's got to sell advertising.
Absolutely. So, no, totally. So, no. Actually, what this advertising boycott is going to do? It's going to kill the company.
And do you think that
and the whole world will know that those advertisers killed the company, and we will document it in great detail.
But there are those advertisers.
This is the part I'm talking about.
They're going to say we didn't kill the company.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're going to say
tell it to Earth.
But they're going to say that they're going to say, Elon, that you killed the company because you said these things, and that they were inappropriate things.
Because he dodges this,
and that they didn't feel comfortable on the platform. Right. That's what they're going to say.
And let's see how Earth responds to that.
Okay, this goes back to
We'll both make our cases,
right,
and we'll see what the outcome is.
See,
What are the
there's where he
economics of
should
that
have
for you? I mean,
challenged him.
You have enormous resources, so you can actually keep this company going for a very long time. Would you keep it going for a long time if there was no advertising?
I mean, if the company fails because of an advertiser boycott, it will fail because of an advertiser boycott. And that will be what bankrupted the company. And that's what everybody on earth will know.
What do you think then of the, this goes back to the idea of trust though.
Then it'll be gone. And it'll be gone because of an advertiser boycott.
But you recognize that some of those people are going to say that they didn't feel comfortable on the platform. And I just wonder and ask you and think about that for a second.
Tell it to the judge.
But the judge is going to be...
The judge is the public.
And you think that the public is going to say that Disney is making a mistake?
Yes.
And they're going to boycott Disney?
And he's right.
They already are.
And he's right.
Well, yeah, that's why I wanted to...
That right
I was going to say, pause back just for a second. That's where I want to say where he was like, because he kind of almost lost it for a second there with the whole...
But he nailed it right there. He
did, but he's like, the judge is the earth. It's like, no, that's where he should have said and challenged the interviewee and saying, what did I say? What did I do that was so horrible? See, that's the thing he has never really done to anybody publicly yet, because all he did was like a tweet from my memory, and that's where they're going after him about.
I think he knows that there's no point. That's why he's just like the public, just letting them decide. Like, I think that's
I think that is the point, because you got to make these little fuckers squirm under their own stupidity. That's what I've learned dealing with them for years. He is a little bit, but he could have knocked the little fucker out right there with that. Like, what is it? By making him explain to him what it is that's so wrong, he will make the interviewee then fucking stumble over this bullshit, because then they got to sit there and make up a bunch of crap. And then Elon, being smarter than him, could sit there and challenge him through that whole thing, dunk on him, and then say this at the end and say, well, I guess they'll just have to tell the judge their reason for that. Because that's what he's claiming, right at the end of the day, whether or not he's taking him to court or whether he's talking about the judge of popular opinion, that's where the other part comes in. And he's right. We are already boycotting Disney. Like, that's what he should have jumped to first.
There is a little bit more to this. So keep playing for those last 20 seconds.
And they're going to boycott Disney? They
already are.
Well, there are some that are for lots of different reasons. But you think that this is going to, that you have this goes to actually the interesting of power and leverage.
Let the chips fall where they may. Let the chips fall where they may.
Love it. Absolutely love it. They already are. It's like, yeah, they are. I remember Bob.
The guy was like, "Well, some like it's just a few people,
Yeah, it's just a handful.
I mean, this is you know what would have been glorious is like it would have been glorious if you could have said it's more than just some. Like Disney has lost $500 million in a month. No entertainment company in history has managed to lose that much in that short a time. And if he really wanted to be nasty, he also said, oh, Bob Iger was on here before me. Because this is the context I was talking about. That thing that Bob Chapek said, it was at this summit, and he said it right before Elon Musk came on. He was even talking about like them no longer advertising on Twitter, knowing full well that Elon Musk would be the next speaker.
So that's why Elon Musk. That's why Elon Musk said, "Go fuck yourself," and you, Bob, if you're in the audience.
Exactly. But how glorious would it have been? Oh, by the way, and Bob, well, I got your attention just so everyone knows all that stuff you blame Chapek for. It was you all the time, because he has never been challenged with this in public. This is what I find frustrating when Bob Iger comes with all of his lies. The only ones that call him out on those lies are the likes of us. And some of the trades, they may put it in parentheses, or he kind of like did this himself. But he's never really confronted with it. They report on his lies, they signal boost his lies, but they generally don't call out his lies. He's not confronted with that. They blamed like the orange man of being a liar. This dude lies much worse and much more egregiously, and it's so much easy to debunk. And you would think that entertainment journalists would be able to debunking him in a second, because he's just saying bullshit.
So funny. That was not my bingo card for today. Go fuck
Well,
yourself.
this is why they have to control the media, right? No, and like I said, that he could have also there's a lot of other things he could have said about that too. Is like, well, let them not advertise on one of the biggest platforms on the planet. That's their problem. And I would have been on, if I was Elon, I'd also say, well, they already have a problem with people giving a crap about their movies. If they don't want people knowing about their movies on top of it all, I guess that's their problem. Right.
I would have preferred if he said that, because the real problem here is that he told those people that are now desperate to see Twitter fail because it's no longer their pravda. He'll
Bingo.
let them know it's working. He'll let them know,
Mm.
yeah, this is an existential threat to the company. I mean, he should have faked it. This is where he should have put on a brave face and said, I don't care. I have enough money. I can fund this thing forever. I don't need advertising.
Exactly. That's what I was getting at.
Let them know that it doesn't matter. You can advertise and use this platform to promote your products, or you cannot. And let all of those who are against you talk there instead. It's up to
Bingo.
you. That's
exactly what I was getting at. That was what I was saying, is he should have come out there like the theaters and said what they said, is like, studios are going to learn, Disney and all these other people boycotting me are going to learn that they need me a hell of a lot more than I need them.
Yeah.
That's what he should have fucking said right there.
Yeah. I don't know. I still think it's a power move, what he said. I still think it's a power move, because
I think he lost a little bit, because there's people out there using that already, Nate. I've seen it on Twitter.
Yeah, well, there's people also saying this made me. There's also people on Twitter saying this made me go premium. So I think it works both ways.
Well, yeah, Matt Cage. Yeah, and here's the thing, and this happened today too. There's several thoughts I have on this, but you have people that are canceling their Disney Plus subscriptions because of what Elon said at the DealBook thing.
Well, also just as an because he's in the middle of a lawsuit, if he can prove that them boycotting him via malicious intent and that leading to failure, I mean that's a legal issue. That's even bigger legal issue, isn't it? So isn't he setting it up for a legal issue more than anything?
Oh yeah, I mean,
this
whole thing is
it's quite a big win, more than an L.
This whole thing's tied to a whole lot of legal cases, but I mean, it's when we talk about this, we need to realize if they stop advertising on Twitter, they have less effective ways of getting their shills to get out the message for their television content, for everything else, promoting things, because they won't have promoted tweets, official promoted tweets to link to. But at the same time, because he can put his thumb on the scale, which we all know can be done at any moment in time, the freedom of speech may still be there, but the freedom of reach that they talk about all the time will be severely limited. So you still have all these Disney accounts that are paying $10,000 a month, to have that special golden check mark, right? But they can turn the reach down. They just go whoop, bye.
And that's what I was getting at.
Yeah,
is basically Twitter has been nothing but a free, what the hell? Like the guys who figure out statistics and stuff and tell you crap at the company. What the hell are they called, Andre? I just told you. Analyst. It's basically a free analyst forum. Right. And not only that, they can get stuff trending. They can see if stuff's trending. They can see the reactions to things. And that's where Elon should have really hit it home. And that's what I'm saying. Because like Andre said, that's my point, is he's kind of basically signaling that, yeah, you could hurt the company. You could kill the company with this. I know what he's trying to say with that. But unfortunately, you're signaling to the other side that could hurt us. That this could destroy us. When I think he should have put on a bigger face and said, like, no, they need us. That we don't need them. We'll just find somebody else.
Because I think that would go against him in court. I think this is why he said.
I see what you're saying, but
that's actually a very, very good point. Yeah, that is a good point. Right now, since it's a legal matter going on right here, you are quite right. I did not take that into account, but that is indeed quite accurate. Given the court thing. Yeah, he needs to show that this is really damaging us. It's done in ill intent. They need to be sued. Yes, this is why. Obviously, of course, you're right. Elon Musk is a smart guy. He knows this. He knows how to play chess. So this is he's now playing a game for the trial, because he's quite right. He can keep this going forever. He doesn't need the money, but he needs to. Yeah, he's playing a game here.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I can see that from a legal standpoint. Yes, I can see that. Yes.
Well caught.
Yeah, and I mean he's a smart guy, but real quick and to support what I was saying, and I'm going to throw this up as an overlay here. Maybe did it pop up?
Yeah.
Okay. It says just in users on X are reporting mass cancellations of Disney Plus subscriptions after Elon Musk interview. Within just hours of Elon Musk's interview, thousands of users have posted screenshots of canceled Disney Plus subscriptions. In addition, Disney Plus users are reporting cancellations of Paramount Plus and others who've also participated in this boycott. Of course, they didn't put that there. I added it, so sorry. This comes after Elon Musk accused some advertisers of blackmailing X with advertising money. And Bob Iger specifically called out. Now, what's funny is that was trending. Canceled was trending today. Bob Iger was trending today. This is kind of a weird thing that we're in right now. And I
like it.
Disney's
content.
But Nate, you can't open up the internet and not see Disney screwing up in one way or another every single day.
Oh, I know. And when I started today's podcast by going, look, I know we're dealing with Disney again, but the ramifications. But it's true because the ramifications are huge. If they fall, there's other things that will usurp them. That in line of succession. If they succeed, that it's all manner of things. It shapes the industry because they are the biggest company. So yeah, fascinating stuff. But we're going to shuffle onto some super chats now. Unless Nick, you didn't say anything with that. You got nothing to say on that?
I'm just sitting back with my popcorn enjoying the show, man.
All right, cool. Right,
I love seeing Disney continue to burn itself to the ground. I hope Elon. I don't know what'll come out in this court thing, but it's definitely going to make for interesting content for sure.
Oh, massively. All right, cool. Culture's disappeared briefly. We got Jason Webster for $5 Australian. Japanese film review aggregator Film Marks ranked Godzilla -1 higher than Shin Godzilla. So there's that. Mecha J for $2 says Bob must really love smelling his own farts. I always think of the South Park episode whenever I hear stuff like that. E. Clay Thomason selling $5 says the Paramount Plus channel on YouTube just dropped every episode of Halo in full. What do you make of that? Desperately trying to drum up some interest in season 2.
Yeah,
that's what I would say. Because why would you give that? They were like 10 million an episode or something like that. That was staggeringly high for.
Wasn't that one of J.J. Abrams' productions too, or something like that? Or who's behind that? I'm trying to remember.
I mean,
some hack was behind it. I can't remember now which one.
I hated that show.
They're so fucking interchangeable anymore.
They're trying to drum up squeeze as much income as they can out of that thing. They're like, oh, we'll get some views on YouTube. We'll get some money there,
Get a few $1,000 or something like that. Mr. Think Q for £1.99 says Iger needs to do the right thing and just resign. We'll get to that, chat. We'll get to that. Mr. Tickle Trunks for $5 says, yes, Tom, you have to directly debunk accusations. You have to pin them down directly like the politicians. You tell me what I said, quote me.
Yeah, he didn't have to. Okay, I'll concede on the other part, but that's where he should have pushed back a little bit and been like, what exactly did I say? Or what did I do?
I agree with that.
And that's the thing is they won't be able to answer, right? Because they'll just stumble upon, well, you like this tweet. And it's like, okay, so what about that was anti-Semitic or whatever it was that I was being accused of? And then you kind of send them down this path of, no, the burden of proof is on you now because you made the accusation, right? Kind of thing. Yeah. So then you send them stumbling. And this is the way I deal with the idiot fucking woke trolls all the time on Twitter, is you just send them stumbling down their own path. And then eventually they just start going ad hominem attacks and it just starts rolling into its own thing,
Oh, mate, I do it all the time. It's so fun. I normally it's in the morning when I'm doing my cardio because I like to shit post in the morning. And when I'm on one because I reply to every single comment and I'm just, honestly, I'm just like a little chihuahua, just viciously going for it. Come on, keep going. Come on. Super funny. Right, anyway, Finbar White for £5 says, hey, everyone, could Musk buy Disney?
Well, he could if he wanted to, I'm sure. Just buy out all the stock. You could do a corporate
how much is Elon Musk worth? How much does I honestly don't know.
Somewhere between 207 and 280 billion, 207 billion. And
there's another
billion.
part of that interview you didn't show where he was talking about advertising specifically. And he talks about how big of a company Tesla is without one bit of advertising.
Yeah.
That's not part of the,
I can tell you what he could do, and what I don't know it's happening, but I sincerely hope it's happening right now. I sincerely hope that the three people who are smart enough to understand that three people are smart enough that they can work something out together here. And that would be Nelson Peltz, Ike Perlmutter, and Elon Musk. Elon Musk alone cannot buy Disney. That cannot happen because there's
probably
too many different parties. But what he could do is that he could partner up with Nelson Peltz. They could look at Disney's various shareholders and they could say, okay, here, they have a position there, they have a position there, they have a position there. Nelson Musk, I'm going to go and give these 5 parties, I'm going to go behind the doors. I'm going to give them an offer that they cannot refuse. I'm going to take over all of their shares. And now suddenly Elon Musk is like the 5th, 6th biggest Disney shareholders. And then he allies with Perlmutter and Nelson Peltz.
Well, let's say he doesn't even need
to counter.
Well, obviously Nate wants to hold up on that because he's got a subject for that later.
That is exactly why. That is a conversation for our next topic right now.
Yeah.
God damn it, you're just so quick off the mark, guys.
Sorry about that. Well,
it's good.
Once the mill gets started.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is heating up. So originally, we had a report that Nelson Peltz and Trian Fund Management, their bid for seats has been rejected. And then Disney responded. So there's a few things to go into here. Andre, I'm going to hand it over to you. Do you want to just give everyone the background that started this to where we are right now? What has actually happened?
Sure. I have. Let's be clear, because I have not read this story, but obviously I know
just up until now. Yeah.
But the tip of my tongue, because here there's actually 2 stories. One, there is Nelson Peltz versus Iger and Disney, and there is Ike Perlmutter versus Iger, and this is obviously what is going on here. Now, the background here is that Ike Perlmutter, he is the mastermind behind Marvel. If there is anyone out there who haven't seen our videos breaking down the rise of the fall of the MCU, we should head on over to Midnight's Edge and check those out. But the brief spoiler is that all the stuff that you heard about what a mastermind Kevin Feige is all bullshit, and it's all lies. It's propaganda put out there. That is stolen valor. There is one hero in Marvel Studios, one person without whom Marvel Studios would not exist, and that is Ike Perlmutter. Without Ike Perlmutter, you would never have heard of Kevin Feige, because he would still be boiling coffee for Lauren Schuler Donner, because that's what he did. He was a coffee cooker and coffee getter and the secretary, just like Kathleen Kennedy was for George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, and before that for John Milius, basically a glorified secretary. So was Kevin Feige. And the way that he got out of that, being the secretary and the personal go-getter, was that he was so good at cooking coffee and doing notes that he was sent on over to the X-Men movie on Lauren Schuler Donner's behalf. And that's where he met Avi Arad, and he actually impressed Avi Arad. Now, who is Avi Arad? Well, Avi Arad, he was the partner of Ike Perlmutter. He was the one that Ike Perlmutter sent go oversee our movie production, because Perlmutter and Arad were the ones who owned Marvel. And the two of them, and by the two I mean 30% Arad and 70% Perlmutter, they restructured all of Marvel from its bankruptcy, and they saved the company. And gradually, through many different actions, Arad was shifted out, and Perlmutter carried on and created Marvel Studios and the MCU with it. Kevin Feige didn't create the MCU. There would have been an MCU with or without him. But there wouldn't have been an MCU without Ike Perlmutter. There wouldn't have been a Marvel Studios without Ike Perlmutter. Ike Perlmutter, he became, with time, quite passionate about Marvel. Initially, it was just another company he bought with the intention of flipping it, like he had done so many other companies in the past. But at some point, he became passionate about Marvel, about what it stood for, its importance in culture. So he even gave Kevin Feige mandates, and this was when the MCU was in its prime, was because of the mandates that Ike Perlmutter put in place, and he installed the Marvel Creative Committee to oversee Kevin Feige and give him directions and give him guidelines. When all of the Marvel movies went from strength to strength, that was when Kevin Feige actually answered to the Marvel Creative Committee and Perlmutter. And also, now we get into Bob Iger here, because Bob Iger, he bought Marvel, and he bought Marvel from Perlmutter. Perlmutter was the owner of Marvel, and Perlmutter, he was very reluctant. And the only reason that he agreed to do it was because he had several people vouch for him. Basically he had the Pixar people vouch and say, you know what, it's fine, because Disney bought us, Iger bought us, and he let us carry on, and he let Pixar be Pixar. And so he told them, okay, I will let you do this on one behalf, or on one condition, and that is stay the hell out of my way. I run Marvel. I'll give you the paychecks. You just give us some Disney money to increase marketing and stuff like that, and I'll use that money to give you even more money in return. But Marvel is mine. Back the fuck off. This was the condition under which Perlmutter sold Marvel to Iger. And Iger honored that right up until he changed his mind. And this happened not too long after the paper was signed. And when when Kevin Feige realized, okay, now it's actually Bob Iger that's really controlling the spots here. So then he went to Iger and he complained about Perlmutter, and then he was able to get himself promoted to a higher position. He was able to remove Perlmutter from equations, and that's when things started going off the rails for the MCU. And when things got really off the rails was from Phase 4 onwards, and that is the time when Perlmutter's and the Marvel Creative Committee's influence was completely removed. When it was the 100% Feige show, uninterrupted or uninfluenced by anyone else, that's Phase 4 onwards. That's all Feige all the time. And obviously, Perlmutter is not happy about this. I imagine that this is what they're saying right here, that Perlmutter has a long-standing personal agenda against Iger. Obviously, because Iger lied to him. He broke his promise to stay out of the way. He took Marvel, a company that the modern iteration of is something that Perlmutter personally built, and he completely subverted and ruined it.
Yeah,
and then
he did the same thing with George Lucas and Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly. But one last point, because and this goes to like the double standard, how Bob Iger, only yesterday in this summit, he was complaining about Bob Chapek and how much it hurt him to see what Chapek did to the company that he built. You know, it's funny because what Chapek did actually increased the share value of Disney, whereas Iger has completely butchered every company that he bought, every last one of them.
Yeah. And do you want to just give a quick rundown of who Nelson Peltz is and what he's trying to do?
Certainly. Nelson Peltz, he is the head of the Trian Fund Management Group. And he is another billionaire investor. Basically, what he does is that he sees companies which have potential, but which are undervalued because they are mismanaged. So what he does is that he goes in as an owner, he fixes the company, and usually, and here's the interesting thing, he doesn't implement any ESG bullshit or something like that. All of the things that he does to the companies that he has managed before is to make them consumer driven. He finds out, why did the customers like this company to begin with, and why did the customers go away, and what can we do to get the customers back? And then that's what he implements, and then the company does fine, and then he earns a ton of money. This is basically what he does, and this is also much of the basis for the Trian Fund Management Group, because they do like some investments and stuff like that, but much of it is actually in acquiring and changing the culture and structure of undervalued companies and make them perform the way that they're supposed to do. And he now has his eyes on Disney. He didn't have any investments in Disney as of 2 years ago. He only became a Disney investor in this past year, little year and a half. He became invested in Disney last summer. Then he bought about $1 billion worth of shares after speaking with, among others, Ike Perlmutter. So these two, they know each other. They are business people. They're both friends with Trump and stuff like that. And so for Nelson Peltz, Disney is just a massive investment opportunity, because it's a company that right now is mismanaged. It is severely undervalued because it is mismanaged. If he's able to invest a lot in it and turn it around, then ka-ching. But there are so many shareholders that in order to do this, he has to get on the board. So he launched a proxy fight after buying this $1 billion worth of shares, where basically he demanded a seat on the board. And he should have that with $1 billion worth of shares. Of course, Iger fought this tremendously. Iger argued that we don't want you on the board. We don't need you on the board. You're only going to come here and give us shit suggestions that we have already thought of and don't really need. You can't contribute anything because you don't know anything of the world of entertainment. Which incidentally, no one on the Disney board can, because it's all the Iger company. But he was able to stave him off the last time by giving him many concessions, to the point where Peltz was satisfied for the time being, and he let Iger know in no uncertain terms, you get so and so long to turn this company around, and if you can't do it, I'll be back. And Iger couldn't do it. The share price went down, down, down. And Peltz took advantage of that, those reducing share price to buy even more shares. So now he has like triple the investments that he had before, and now he's demanding more board seats. And he is formally allied with Ike Perlmutter, who is now
the biggest single shareholder, isn't he?
Over to Peltz, meaning that two of them are a very powerful ally against Bob Iger. Now, something funny has been happening with the share price of Disney as of late. It should be going down because of all their failures, but instead it has been going up. Why is it going up? Well, that's because of him. No, it's because of Bob Iger. Because Bob Iger's friends now have to buy up more shares to try to combat Nelson Peltz and try to get into the board instead. And there has been some recent changes in the board structure of Disney, and that Bob Iger fortifying his position against Peltz, because he desperately does not want Peltz or any of Peltz's people on the board, because they will be able to expose exactly what Iger is doing, how he is mismanaging the company, and how Disney in reality doesn't even have a board, because they're all your appointees.
Well, let's shuffle on right now to what's actually happened, because it's it's a doozy. Basically, that was to kind of bring you up to speed. Important information, some of the background stuff, but what's happened is Nelson Peltz obviously went to try to get more board seats, quite a few actually, and he was in a very strong position too. Disney has officially refused those board seats. officially refused them. Fascinating stuff. Now Nelson Peltz has gone, okay, that's fine. We're going to formally take all of this to the shareholders and let them decide then. That's going to be fun. So what happened, right? Nelson Peltz Triumph Fund Management, which owns about $3 billion of stock in Disney, said today it plans to take its case for change at the media giant directly to shareholders after the company rejected its request for a board seat. This morning, this is a direct quote from them, this morning, following conversations with Disney CEO, Disney extended an offer to Trian to meet with the board, but informed Trian that the board is turning down Trian's recent request for board representation, including Nelson Peltz. So the activist, he's the least activist. He's a businessman. The billionaire businessman is very much in Disney's hair right now for the second time.
Can I stop you for 1 second there? Activist investor is actually a term in finance. It has nothing to do with purple-haired crazy people crying for communism.
I know.
It only means a shareholder that is trying to change the course of the company. But yeah.
But I know, but the negative connotations there. They know why they're using that. They know why. Double meaning. But this is direct quote again from them. Since we gave Disney the opportunity to prove it could right the ship last February, up to our re-engagement weeks ago, shareholders have lost $70 billion of value. Disney's share price has underperformed proxy peers and the broader market over every relevant period during the last decade and over the tenure of each incumbent director. Big stab at Bob Iger. Investor confidence is low, key strategic questions loom, and even Disney's CEO is acknowledging that the company's challenges are greater than they previously believed. While James Gorman and Sir Jeremy DeRock represent an improvement from the status quo, the addition of these directors will not, in our view, restore investor confidence or address the root cause behind the significant value destruction and missteps that the board has overseen. Trian intends to take our case for change directly to the shareholders. I love it. And then they responded. And they responded. Disney's response is the most impotent, limp dick thing I've seen in my life.
Oh, I can't wait for this. I haven't read it. I'm
coming from King Karen Bob, I can imagine.
It's so pathetic. So Disney acknowledged today activist investor Nelson Peltz plans to go directly to shareholders to seek a seat on the board, but noted he is in partnership with Isaac Perlmutter, a former Disney executive. Mr. Perlmutter owns 78%, blah, blah, blah. Where was the actual statement? Oh, here you go. Sorry. It's so bloody small. It's barely there. Where is the quote? Oh, here you go. In partnership with Isaac Perlmutter, a former Disney executive, Mr. Perlmutter owns 78% of the shares that Mr. Peltz claims beneficial ownership of, or more than 25 million of the 33 million shares. This dynamic is relevant to assessing Mr. Peltz and any other nominees he may put forth as directors, as Mr. Perlmutter was terminated from his employment by Disney earlier this year and has voiced his long-standing personal agenda against Disney CEO Robert A. Iger, which may be different than that of all other shareholders. I think most shareholders will probably agree with Ike Perlmutter, to be honest.
I think so too.
Yeah,
because Ike
There was more than this before.
Ike Perlmutter is one of the most successful businessmen there ever was.
There was a bigger statement than this because they commented on board seats as well. Disney have removed some of this stuff annoyingly because there was more before. So that's really annoying. Really, really annoying. Unless this is what have they added it here? Disney is moving from a period of fixing to a new era of building.
You're not done with the fixing. You're not done with the fixing. You fixed nothing.
No, that's not it at all. They've removed some of it. That's really annoying. How strange. Oh, they've added more stuff.
Fixing in the criminal way.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Oh, they've added more stuff. They've literally added more stuff.
Yeah, there's more stuff. If you go down, Nate, head down. It says previously.
Yes, but that's the last
original story.
Yeah, so that's the stuff we've already covered. But they've added even more now.
Yeah.
So they say there's a qualification on a level that is required to sit on the Disney's board, and the board makes decisions about who's qualified and who isn't. qualified to be on the board, and if Nelson officially requests the board seat, I'm sure the board will go through a process to determine whether he should have a role on the board or not. But it's not like we've got a number of empty seats. Come on in, join the Disney board, have fun. This is Bob Iger saying yesterday during
it would appear that the qualifying factor to be on the Disney board is, are you friendly with Bob Iger? And when Bob Iger says jump, will you ask how high? That is the qualification to be on the board. Oh, and you also need to be a CEO in something else or something. But the most important thing is you need to be a friend and loyal to Bob Iger. This is the qualification.
So there was a seemingly a bigger element with respect to this statement on board seats. But the thing is, they basically commented that there's no available board seats or something. And it's like, well, yeah, because you literally just gave 2 board seats away. So there would have been, but you literally just gave 2 new board seats away to someone else or something like that.
Did they replace 2 board members, or did they expand?
They replaced one and then gave another one.
Right, so they expand a new one. Yeah, exactly. So basically they're packing the board. So because that only means that they are anticipating that he's probably going to be successful in getting like 1 or 2 people in, but then Iger got another ally in as well to create more board members, so each one has less power, meaning that if Pelt were to get in, he would have less power than he does right now. All of this is a desperate person that's trying to secure his foothold on power. That's what we're seeing here.
It's so funny. I mean, this is going to go nuclear now, though. I mean, that's like this is all out Disney war.
Well, I got a question for Andre, going back to what you were talking about before we slipped over into this part. Like, let's just say, for the sake of devil's advocate here, Elon Musk were to get involved with this Disney situation.
Yeah.
Would it really even take 5 or so other people to get him to kind of turn? Let's say if he were to talk to George Lucas and the widow of
Jobs.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Jobs.
What he needs to go. He needs to go and find someone else who is disenfranchised and who is not happy with the way that Disney is doing right now. It's someone with sizable shareholdings. For instance, those, but I don't know if maybe Iger got to them first or something. That I really don't know. But
I mean, yeah, okay, I could see like Jobs' widow. Let's take her off the table. But Lucas, he's got more than enough reason to be like.
Well, for instance, say for instance that Lucas is so unhappy that he actually could be convinced to let go of his shares, or. That would, if he's so inclined, he should just go with Perlmutter right away. It wouldn't be necessary, and that he hasn't done that suggests that maybe he's still pro Iger.
Good point.
They might want to go with someone else, but if he's like able to find like, I don't have like a detailed list of Disney shareholders, but let's just say someone like George Lucas or some other company that's decided, you know what, we don't believe in this anymore. The Disney share price is now what? Well, just say it's like 95, yeah. And Musk were to say, you know what, I'll buy your entire holding at 105 a pop right now. Give them an offer that you can't refuse. To basically see that the way things are going right now, this probably ain't going to get any better anytime soon. Let's just take this money and get out of here. He needs to find someone like that, and that way he can get a substantial amount of shares, enough that you can take it to the shareholders, and he's going to be among them. But here's like the trick: the only Disney shares that he can buy are the ones which are available for him to buy. It's not enough to just go and buy like the ones that are being randomly traded on a day-to-day basis. No, he needs to go and buy the complete portfolio from big established shareholders right now in order to have like a big impact. Could he do that? Yeah, he could. So I'm sincerely hoping that there's some talk between parties right now, and that would be like that would be advantageous for Elon Musk. I can see many synergies there. If he were to have like a seat on the board himself, perhaps, then maybe he could have Disney advertise on Twitter again. There would be nothing wrong with that. There would be nothing illegal in that. If he were to fix it, or contribute towards fixing it, then he could use that for more like free speech, what have you. I mean, I see only positive synergies to be had from him going on to Disney. But again, this is just wishful thinking right now. We don't know what's up. I would be surprised if this hasn't occurred to them that between Peltz, Perlmutter, and Musk, there's common ground and interest to be had there.
Yeah, well, I think, sort of bringing it a little bit back to the immediate, where do we see this going just right now? I mean, them taking it to the shareholders is a pretty big deal, right? I mean, that's
a very big deal, and that's
massive.
obviously why Iger is trying to change the constitution of the shareholders by having his friends and companies loyal to him and to the ESG cause buy up more, because they're going to be supporting him and the destruction of Disney. Because all the people that are supporting or buying up more shares now on his behalf, they don't want to see Disney restored. They don't care about the share price. They care about the message and the agenda, and they want that to continue.
Yeah. Culture, we haven't heard from you. Haven't heard from Nick or Tom.
Well, look, my thoughts on this are, this is a very dangerous time for Iger. I agree with Andre. They are packing the board. The people that they've elected to pack the board with are very questionable when it comes to the fact that one of them is a Morgan Stanley person that's going to actually be determining the value of Hulu, which is very strange. That person's now on your board, with you guys actually being one of the people.
That's all kinds of corrupt right there, actually.
It is. And I mean, the level of corruption that Disney's been involved in for a long time under Iger's leadership is that's not something that people talk about enough, considering that financially they should be they're facing not only issues with the SEC and DOJ. That investigation is still open, but it hasn't moved forward. That looks at what they overstated revenue, for a long time. They had to settle with that woman, by the way, after she was put in a position where her husband decided to, self-delete. That's a whole other conversation. But you're looking at a very dangerous time, because if you get a cadre of billionaires that are just pissed off enough at Disney, it doesn't matter how packed
but he's speaking to what they care about, money. It's like you've lost 70 billion in value. I mean, you want to keep that going?
The company's worth market cap's right now, I think, about 180 billion or 179 or somewhere in there, right? The price actually of the stock has started to descend again. Finally, it's still way too high, but again, you get somebody like Elon interested or whatever, and they can take the stock price to the mountaintop. But it doesn't matter if all those stockholders all of a sudden have so much power, and if they decide to not vote for the slate that they want to impanel the next time around, ball game over. We are officially in a proxy war, which is why I put the stinger together the way that I did. This is a proxy. This happened. This intention stated, it's going to happen. And if all they have to do is pony up a couple other people. I mean, Tom made suggestions in the Pixar money, the Jobs widow, the Lucasfilm, whatever he's got left, George has left. All of that's quite possible. In fact, I think the Jobs money went to his daughter, if I'm not mistaken. But I could, but I look at all this.
But how crazy woke is she? Because she's someone that's grown up there. She may be very happy with what they're doing.
It's quite possible, but I mean, I look at those numbers and then I think about the fact that as a corporate officer, Iger owns a considerable portion of stock, but nothing the equivalent of which everybody else around him owns. If you were able to possibly oust even Iger and everybody around him, including that woke board from hell, you theoretically could work your way to a point where you could privatize Disney again with all of its holdings, which would be remarkable.
Yeah, any company can be privatized. It's going to be a challenge, though, because in order to do that, you would have to buy out State Street, Vanguard, and BlackRock. Those are the three. And you'd have to get their holdings, and they may not want to let them go. And also, I don't know the size of their holdings, because, like, at a certain point, if you get more than you are then the others, whoever remains, will be legally required to sell off their remaining shares.
Indeed.
But I think that between the three of them, they own so much that is not possible. There is no way that you will be able to get enough of the shares that that clause is triggered.
Right, but that's not. And again, I'm not. I just was venturing an idea. The one that I'm most concerned about, or they should be most concerned about, is if you have a participation by all these billionaires in this idea to have this proxy war, and let's say you get somebody like Elon Musk or whoever to go along with Nelson Peltz and Ike Perlmutter and several other large shareholders that are already lining up behind Peltz. You get more people participating in that. If Disney doesn't deliver during the course, imagine if all those people just dump their stock all at once.
That'd be devastating for them.
Brutal. We can't stay on this for too long. We've stayed on this for a very, very long time now, so we do need to shuffle on now, guys. We've got some super chats to get to as well. Why did you let Culture talk so much?
Culture talk.
Yeah. There you go. Finbar White has been a member for 34 months. Says how low will Disney stock go? Quick suggestions. I have no idea. Quick.
Put a ticket in, make a load of gay.
Well, it's back above 90 right now. I see
how low will it go?
I see it dropping back down to low 70s, high 60s.
There you go.
Ooh.
Culture, real quick. Come on.
I wouldn't even go that far, but I would say a fair value for the stock is somewhere around 72.
Okay, cool. Tom?
I think it will get so low that instead of paying critics $50 for good reviews, they'll just start handing them out stock.
Good answer, Andre, real quick.
Yeah, I agree with the others here. I also think that one thing is how low will it go and how low can it realistically go? Because here's like the thing. Disney, they own a lot of real estate. And that real estate alone means that there is a lower limit to how low the share really can go, right? There's some lower limits. But I would say that given like current market conditions, the Disney share price can go as low as into the 70s. And it's not physically possible for it to go lower than that.
All right. Well, mine was going to be 60 and 70. So there we go. Tommy Reviews for $10 says, "Hail the gang. I'm seeing Godzilla tomorrow night. And the only thing I want to know is how is the score? Does it use new music or old Toho scores like King of the Monsters did? Take notes, Disney $15
yes.
budget. There is conflicting reports on the budget, 15 or 30 million. So I don't really know at this point. It's still bloody cheap. New score, old score, what? Is it good?
Yes.
Cool. Excellent. Jason Webster for $2 Australian says, "Coming soon from Disney, the Eiger Sanction."
There you go.
In fact, I already played some of the new score, and well, it's a good mix of both, a new and old score last night on Mead Radio.
Excellent. I'll have to check that out. Gary Mercado for $5 says, "Does Elon Musk join in on this proxy war? It'd be crazy to watch that happen." Kind of covered that already, my dude, but thank you for the super chat nonetheless. Tom Working sent in a $2 super sticker. Thank you so much, chap. Continued support and always watching the podcast. So thank you so much, bud. You even managed to get Tom on camera there.
Yeah.
Finbar White for £5 says, "Mr. H panel, does it matter who owns Disney? Nothing will really change besides maybe a sell-off of a new IPs like Marvel and Star Wars." It does matter, actually, because the board will control a sizable amount of decisions. So, yeah, I think it does matter.
Matters everything. Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
Not just that. I think most of Hollywood is kind of taking a turn towards getting away from a lot of this politically driven shit and agenda driven stuff. And Disney's the one main holdout right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we're seeing the pendulum swing for sure.
For the importance of ownership, just real quick, look at Twitter before and after.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
a great
example
example
of ownership. You don't need to sell this. You don't need to sell Star Wars or Marvel. Change owner, that changes everything.
Yeah,
Which
that's
depends on
probably
the
the best
owner.
example
Yeah.
to illustrate that. Actually, that's good. Tom Workin sent $2, says passing the buck, and then Olaf followed up with €2, says passing another buck.
Oh.
Yes, but on the subject of like wokery kind of stuff, let's bring on our next subject, our next topic. Because Culture didn't have a stinger made for this one, which is absolutely fine. But Bob Iger responds to the claim that Disney has a woke agenda.
Oof.
Says companies making too many sequels. So too many sequels is a different thing to address. But I thought we would talk about this whole woke agenda business first, because I think that's interesting. It's quite funny. So this was, I mean, we're now getting videos come out, but obviously this is before that. Before videos were coming out, we were getting some live tweets. So Alex Sherman says, Iger says creators at Disney have lost sight of what their job should be. Number one, entertain first. It's not about messages. And then he followed up, as we always knew he would. He says it got worse when he left as CEO chairman.
That's insane. That's utterly insane.
What? Still throwing Bob Chapek.
I think he believed his own lies at this
He
point.
must do. The thing is, a lot of the stuff that came out that was so bad was what he agreed to.
Yeah.
And also, you're full of shit, Bob Iger. We've all seen the sequel trilogy of Star Wars. Mate, you were still CEO and chairman then. What are you on about? We've all seen The Rise of Skywalker, mate. Oh my God! So just thoughts. I'll go to you first, Nick. First thoughts on that.
The funny thing is, like I said a minute ago, I think he's starting to believe his own lies. And so another quote that he said in another interview where he's talking about he's not sure another studio will ever achieve some of the numbers that they had achieved, during their peak. And he said, I mean, we got to the point where if the film didn't do $1 billion in global box office, we were disappointed. That's an unbelievably high standard, and I think we have to get more realistic. So not only is he believing his own crap about how it started getting worse, but now he seems to start to have acceptance of, all right, well, we're not going to be able to sustain this this high mark, and we have to get more realistic on these low numbers. When he's failing to realize that they could have kept that thing going if they were putting out banger after banger. People would have still went and watched it and seen all their. I mean, the fans want to throw their money at them, but not when they are constantly giving us one piece of shit after another. And that's why I've always said it's like their fingers so far from the pulse of what the real problem is here. They're just, taking guesses and just believing their own bullshit.
Especially that whole it got worse when he left as CEO chairman.
Yeah.
No, the stock got better.
Yeah, I mean, this is all platitudes anyway. Like, it's never going to change. Yeah, he's like, oh, we should be entertaining first, not about messages, mate. Delete half the stuff on Disney Plus. Then shut up. You're full of absolute shit.
Well, this is the same guy that was early. Wasn't earlier this year saying like, "Oh, we need to keep messages, and this is what it's all about."
He did say that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Not only that, isn't this the same guy that said earlier this year, "I'm looking forward to Toy Story 4 and Frozen 3 and Zootopia 2 and whatever, insert your fucking Disney movie sequel here." At that meeting,
that was 2 shareholder meetings ago.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, well, this is the other part of it. I don't want to apologize for making sequels. So it's kind of they've kind of twisted it a little bit here, saying he's made too many sequels. He kind of did, but he kind of didn't. So he says, I think I don't want to apologize for making sequels. Some of them have done extraordinarily well, and they've been good films too. I think there has to be a reason to make it beyond commerce. You have to have a good story, and we have made too many. That doesn't mean we're not going to continue to make them. Now, this is the really important thing, like massively. And it sort of vindicates us a little bit in terms of what we've been saying for a while. So he continues, says, I'm not sure another studio will ever achieve some of the numbers that we achieved. What have we always been saying, guys? If it doesn't hit $1 billion, they think it's a failure. I mean, we got to the point where if a film didn't do $1 billion in global box office, we were disappointed.
Let me correct you just a little bit, Nate. We were saying that. They were denying that.
Yep.
Yeah, no. That's what I mean. We've been saying it. We've been saying it all along. Now he's finally admitting what we've been saying all along.
Yep.
That's what I mean.
Sorry, I misheard you then. My bad.
No, it's all right. It gives me another chance to relay the point. We've been saying this for ages. If it doesn't do $1 billion, they will think it's a failure. And everyone was like, no, you're talking bollocks, blah, blah, blah. Shut up. They literally say it right here.
And it's not just Disney, it's everybody in Hollywood. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you're making movies that cost $200 to $300 million, the break-even point, just on pure math, when you go 50% of the box office is what they actually get to take home, you have to make $1 billion to be profitable, because people, especially the media, loves to spin it this way, and Culture knows what I'm talking about. He loves this because this is his whole channel, is how they love to spin this shit when they're not factoring in all the advertising costs, all the reshoots, all the other stuff that goes added into this stuff that they don't report. And what else are we learning lately? They're only reporting the initial budgets. They're not reporting what they actually spend on these movies. And what are we learning? Rise of Sky or The Force Awakens cost $532 million to make.
Wow.
Ant-Man cost how much, Culture Casino, we just learned recently?
Oh, I can't even remember.
300 and some million dollars?
It was just over 300.
And Indiana Jones, tell me again how much we've tallied up so far, and this isn't even the final tally?
Look, there's no doubt that thing will be a 400 million plus picture.
I thought it was reaching 500 at this point, but yeah.
That's what I heard.
And then we know the Avatar movies were a fucking fortune too. Now, granted, of those movies I mentioned, The Force Awakens managed to make money. Barely. Avatar managed to make money. Sort of barely. I mean, but they're amortizing those Avatar movies. Sure, people came back for this one, but are they going to come back for 3 and 4 in the next few years?
Probably, to be honest, mate. Now,
I was wrong about the first time, but that was just because of nostalgic reasons. I didn't take into factor that a lot of the kids that when that first movie came out were now adults. I did not take that into factor.
Yeah.
But now this next time out, it's not that far out. The thrill is kind of gone.
Well,
I don't remember.
We have something to contrast that to, though, Tom. I mean, look at how you have the return of the film, The Hunger Games, the franchise, The Hunger Games. When they wrote that film, the newest one, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, right? When they wrote that film, they wrote it knowing that their audience grew up, right? But
True.
I still think that Avatar, and I agree with you on Avatar too. I still think they had the same kind of infantile approach to this eco message that they're pushing in that film.
Well, and it did much better overseas than the first one did.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. In the U.S., it's had a bit of a downturn.
Yeah. So I look at that and I go, okay, so if you know the audience you're writing for, and if you know that everybody aged up, then that's how you should be writing your sequels, because at a certain age, you're going to go back and say this thing doesn't work. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, so like I said, I mean,
this deadline
article is literally only taking the quotes from this same Deal Book Summit thing. But yeah, it's fascinating to see what we've been saying all along. They would consider anything, not $1 billion, a disappointment, which means a flop. They're not going to consider that a success. So when you call it a flop, success, etc., etc.
Well, to be fair, it depends on how much it underperforms. Like if it, for instance, Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3 made 850, it's an underperformer, but it's not a flop at that amount.
Well, no, but a flop in their eyes in terms of they're not patting themselves on the back for it. If it's a disappointment to them,
no, it's a disappointment.
What I mean,
no, but I'm still curious to see if Guardians really made any money. I want to see the final tally on what the actual cost was. We just learned But the first Guardians cost a hell of a lot more than we thought too.
I love that these films for two reasons. I love that films are being made in the UK because they have such great film professionals, and Nate's good.
Yeah, but not now because they're going to give a bigger tax break now.
Sure.
So that's even worse.
Right. So yeah, look, all I know is I'm grateful that Disney is happy that you guys are funding their flops. So well done. But at the same time, your tax money at work, bro. But anyway, the fact that that Disney is going to continue to utilize that means we get to see real insight into the budgets. It might be a year or two delayed, but we'll have what they announce is what they have as a production budget, and then we have an actual budget. And it's amazing because I can guarantee you the Marvels cost at least $100 million more than we know now, which is $274.8 million.
And I would love to see the breakdowns of some of these things just to see, because here's where I'm trying to figure this out. We just saw Godzilla last night. And whether it costs $15 or $30 million, that don't fucking matter. That's peanuts in comparison to what they're spending on one of these Marvel movies. I would like to see the breakdown of what's being spent where. Because I can already imagine that, yes, the actors are getting the bigger lion's share when it comes to like the big actors, but now that they've got the non-known actors in most of these roles, they can't tell me they're spending all the money there. I bet you a majority of the money is going to the fucking executives. All those executive producers that are listed, they're all giving themselves huge fucking paydays. I guarantee you.
They absolutely are. And a lot of it's that, and a lot of it is VFX work. There's two things at play. A lot of it's washing money, greasing hands, like, oh yeah, you get that, you get this. It was circulating around recently, famous interview with Christopher Lee, and he was saying exactly the same thing, failing upwards, saying it years and years and years ago now. And he was saying exactly the same thing about producers, got no business, they keep making failures, they keep making money from them, and they still in circulation. Same thing. But the other thing is VFX, and the VFX houses in the West are incredibly expensive. Even though they cheap out, they are still incredibly expensive. And that's the States, that's the UK, everything. It's awfully expensive because when you look at tiny budget movies which still have a lot of CGI in, a good one, although slightly touchy subject, Russia's Sputnik, that movie, it's like an alien type movie thing. Really good VFX, really, really, really good VFX. And then there was another one as well where they went underground and there was a giant alien thing, but they got like no budgets, tiniest budgets. And so they just outsource all the VFX to small independent people that will just do it. And so they've got time, they do it on a budget, it's cheaper. A lot of
you know what
else
VFX. They probably do that a lot of these studios aren't doing anymore, especially Marvel? Planning their shit out.
Oh yeah, we know
that's the other thing. Because here it is half of it you can only blame on the studio's part as far as like what they're being paid out, because a lot of these deals are made on the other end, and this is what we hear from the artist part is they make these stupid deals with the studios, they get underpaid, and Disney likes to use this, well you're working for us in Marvel, so you get to put that on your resume. So they'll do it and they'll get them for under cost. So that's where these guys are griping that they're not getting any overtime, they're getting overworked. And what they probably do is the people that are handling these projects that are making these deals, they're probably setting it up that all the retakes and redos are on them. Like, to where like you get what I'm saying, right? To where if they decide, well, we don't want this, we want something different. Well, then it's in the contract that comes out of the share of whatever they paid that studio instead of them having to pay on top of. Right. So that's where I'm curious if that's actually where the money's going. But I see what you're saying on the initial cost. But I know these deals are very bad that these brokers are making between the studios and the effects houses. And that's where a lot of these effects guys are going, it just ain't worth it anymore. When they tell me there's a Disney project or a Marvel project, I just tell them to go fuck themselves because I don't even want to deal with that shit anymore.
Well, and then the in-house VFX people just unionized.
Yeah, but that's but this is part of the
And what reason do you think they probably did that?
What they do is very stressful. They're sitting back in the background running the volumes, and the
whole thing's a shit show. It's a broken industry in the West. That's why. But I want to bring it back to the initial statement he made about it's about entertainment first, not about messages. Andre, you've kept awfully quiet here. What do you think of that statement? Because I think it's just platitudes. Nothing's ever going to change. Just that. Do you think it's going to change?
Of course, it's complete platitudes. And
Cool.
that he says it got worse. Yeah, if it got worse, it's because he was stirring shit up behind the scenes. That's when he was responsible for the Florida thing and the open riot against Chapek and everything. And but you know what's really telling? That he even feels the need to say it. Oh, it wasn't me. It got worse when I wasn't there. That's when
I
you
like
know
so
that
funny.
that tells you he's under fire right now. And he knows that this stuff ain't working. And that is why he is so desperately to try to point out, Chapek. It was him. It was him all the time. And he even bragged about it before. Like, no, we've always had this positive thing. Dude, you're not doing anything positive. I mean, if anything, the messaging that he has put in the movies has made the world a worse place. Like, for instance, LGBTQIAP plus acceptance. There's so many studies now that show that has gone down. Not
drastically. Yeah.
It's gone down
Yeah,
drastically.
they're making bigots.
Disney are at the forefront of that.
Yeah, they're just making bigots. Tom, entertainment first, not about the messages, platitudes. What do you reckon? Tom's dead.
I reckon that maybe his dog saw a squirrel outside or something.
Squirrel!
Right. Nick. Go on, Nick.
Say that again.
Do we reckon it's platitudes, the whole entertainment first, not about messages?
Oh, no, it's definitely about messages. It hasn't been about entertainment first since Infinity War Endgame time frame.
Since they got Fox.
Before then.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I stepped away for a second. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, I think that as far as like this is the thing that this kind of goes in tandem with the whole sequels thing, right? Like I've made this point before, so I'll keep it as quick as I can. This is where the creativity goes out the door, is they have forgotten how to make a movie. This is what Scorsese and Tarantino are talking about. This is what they say when we have an entire generation that has been weaned on nothing but Harry Potter, Marvel, Mission Impossible style sequels, to where they don't know how to handle a movie like Taxi Driver, or they wouldn't even know how to handle a movie like Reservoir Dogs now, or even Pulp Fiction. They wouldn't know. Why? Because it's not like anything they've seen before, and we're back to a point where we're back to this sanitized, dry, even though as unfamily friendly as it is, I use the term sanitized in the sense of how in the creativity sense. Like there's zero creativity. It says, buy the book, buy the numbers as you can get. And I was reminded of this by the Marvels, right? Because you could see they just kind of washed away any of the woke and a lot of the whole storyline and stuff. And all that's left is just the basic plot points. So it's like, okay, you've literally gotten to this point where every movie is and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, and I see a movie like Godzilla last night, and I'm reminded how good movies are supposed to be. Same thing with The Shift. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard of this movie or not yet, but we got a screener copy from Angel Studios, and I thought it was a great movie. Andre didn't like it as much as I did, but I thought it was great. I don't know if any of you guys otherwise have seen it. But again, here's where you have just a concept, an idea, and you have a great cast, and they sell this idea and this concept. It's not attached to anything. It's a great just multiverse story, but it's all self-contained. It's not built in a Marvel universe or this universe or that universe, right? Like they forgot how to make movies like Rain Man. They forgot how to make just regular movies. And nowadays those kind of movies just get tossed to the side and lost.
Yeah, it's like the David Fincher Killer movie on Netflix. That was a film that would have been in theaters 15, 20 years ago. Would have been in a theater, but nope. No, just thrown on.
Sequels used to be like an embarrassing thing for the studios. Go ahead, Culture.
Yeah. No, and actually, Tom, you went exactly where I was going to go. Yeah, there was a period of time that sequels were like, they knew they were just trying to grab another dollar on the same property. Whereas, then they became kind of normal. They became the norm because of, what happened with Star Wars and a few other things.
Well, didn't Nolan just say that? Yeah, Nolan was just saying this the other day.
Yeah.
He was saying how the studios used to be able to make, you got to have both.
Yeah.
You do have to have both.
You have to have,
you have to have, you have to have your Superman 3 to be able to fund 10 other Nolan style projects, basically, is what he was saying.
Yeah. You have to have low down stuff. Let's shuffle on to some super chats. and then we'll move on to another topic, which is quite comical. So Jason Webster sent in $5, says, now showing from Disney Wars Episode 11, Revenge of Pearl Mutter. Pretty much. Tom Workin says, Marvel Cinema suffers from the same things as the comic book publishing. Yeah, like consistently upping the ante, like changing things, cutting things away. It's that constant thing, whereas they could have just kept it going.
And how's that working out for the comic book industry now?
Well, yeah, not so great. D, $10 says, how high is Bob? As I've only heard some of the madness he is saying when I've been tripping balls. Fuck's sake. Brilliant. Careful. Don't trip too much.
Are you actually tripping, or is he just thinking he's tripping because he's hearing such crazy shit? I think that's the question.
It could be either. Israel after $10 says, it's just real how much Disney has fallen, not just in their own films and owned IPs. Has there been any exposure to Disney's failing in their parks and merch given to public or shareholders?
The shareholders haven't seen any dividends, right? Culture?
No.
That was one of Perlmutter's requests initially before to stop the first proxy war, wasn't it? Bring the dividends back.
Yeah, this time, unfortunately, I think he's got the opportunity to prepare. And I think that's the thing that's actually kind of going to cause this one to drag on and take a lot more money.
Yeah.
But as far as publicly, the more you have people like Musk saying the shit he did, and other people saying this stuff out in public about Disney, and even if Bob's going to sit there and own it, well, that's even worse, because then now they have no plausible deniability later on when they're like, well, we were just kind of going with the fads at the time. We never wanted to be this, company that was all about the message. Well, you can deny that if you never said that you were about the message, but you have, Bob. That's the problem. Many a time.
Well,
sorry.
But that's why we're here, right? This is why Mr. H does what he does. I do what I do. It's why you guys do what you do. Nick is still a Star Wars shill. I don't care. But anyway, that's why I'm teasing you, Nick. But honestly, that's what it is. It's we do this so that we can hold their feet to the fire. So we go back and go, wait a minute, Bob, didn't you say this? Wait a minute, Bob, didn't you say this? That's what we like to do. It's fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd like to get back to talking about good stuff again, but I've done a few positive videos here and there lately. A few.
We talked about Godzilla.
2 the other day, 3 the other day. I'm enjoying talking about some good stuff again, but we'll see when the industry starts to change a bit. Bayona Ride for £2 says Bob Iger is stubborn. Don't want to let go of power. Yes. But that brings us nicely off to our next topic, which is very funny, if true. So She-Hulk season 2, it was rumored to be on the cards. Made a lot of sense that it would be from how they did the narrative-wise, where they left it, how they structured the show. It ended on a cliffhanger. It also developed into what it should have been during the course of the show, only to end where it got where it just should have been. So a season 2 seemed pretty natural and on the cards. However, now it's looking like it's not going to happen due to poor audience reception, as well as an astronomical budget, $25 million an episode, $225 million a season. That's embarrassing. And we know that we know why this costs so much, and it goes back to what Andre was saying before, was because awful bloody management of scripts, changing stuff on the fly, changing stuff at last minute. So we have it here from this individual's got a good track record of leakers. Thwip T says She-Hulk originally planned to have a season 2. I think that's patently obvious from the show itself, but due to poor reception, it's probably not going to happen. And what poor reception? Well, wasn't even on the top 10 Nielsen's chart, and only appeared in the top 10 Nielsen's chart as the finale was there. Realistically, didn't even get that high, to be honest, either.
And shout out to Mac, who's been doing great work. Now it's known on Twitter.
Yeah, well, yeah. And the thing is about this one, it only got there. I mean, that was all of the episodes. So, I mean, that could have been people binge watching the entire season, not just the finale, which is probably what had happened. And if that is the case, that's not a lot of watch time minutes. That's actually embarrassingly bad if that is the case. So yeah, not good. 32% Rotten Tomatoes, 5.3 out of 10 on IMDb. Just terrible, awful. And again, when you're spending, and this is the notorious shill now, My Time to Shine. Hello, we know he's a shill because of what he was saying with respect to the Variety article that came out. Weirdly,
he's dropped mask completely.
Yeah, he was weirdly sucking the dick of Kevin Feige at that point. It was really bizarre. She-Hulk season 2 is happening, or should I say will happen post-strikes. But this is an older tweet compared to this leaker here. So what do we think? I mean, look, it deserves to be cancelled. Should never happen. I'm a bit disappointed, though, because I would have liked to have memed on it a little bit. It was true. I would have liked to have memed on it.
I think it was sincerely going to happen at one point, but yeah, I think with the recent reevaluation of Marvel, that was one of the things that clearly was going to have to get the axe, just because, I mean, it's one of the points where they really screwed the pooch. And I mean, whether you believe the whole, they tried to, use Doomcock in that one character role as kind of an influence or whatnot, you can't deny the fact that they really tried to predetermine certain ways that the audience was going to react to this. And they really played their hand with it. Not only that, it's kind of the one that really makes them look the worst as far as like having a lot of it's basically their Batwoman, I guess. So are they going to continue? I mean, that was the only reason I think the only reason they were ever going to in the first place, is my opinion. But I'm curious what you guys think. I think it's dead now just because of the change. But yeah, I think before it was going to go full steam ahead just because they had to prove a point.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they love throwing money at the wall. I mean, the thing is, Disney's never made money. Disney Plus, sorry, has never made money. It's not turned a profit yet because of the investment in it.
Also, on top of that, that's the direction that they've been saying that they wanted to go anyways. So I 100% believe that they were going to definitely do a season 2. They were wanting to move to a more female-centric MCU, and they said so themselves. So it's not like, that's just like conspiracy theory stuff. I mean, they literally came out and said it. But now that the numbers are doing what they're doing, now they're having to reevaluate, and that's probably more than likely why they're going to end up canceling season 2, because nobody cares.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that with all the shows? I mean, Andre and Tom have been tracking that beautifully, watching everything go, because they're just diving. People are bailing on Disney Plus. They're bailing on their shows. People will give them 1 or 2 episodes and then ditch the show entirely.
Yeah.
Loki's viewership was down, and it shouldn't have been
down by a third.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, the nonsensical beginning of the first 2 episodes didn't help Loki out all that much. But again,
we know they changed that on the fly as well, though. They rewrote one of the episodes across a weekend.
Yeah, and then they said that they didn't do any reshoots or any rewrites. Lying bastards. They went to the Iger school of weather guessing, and they just lie their ass off at any time.
Well, and that's why people have turned to us, right? Is because they can't even trust any of the news that comes out of the news, let alone comes out of the studios, because they're going to lie about it.
Yeah. Well,
that's actually a really sad state of affairs, because I was like, God, I hope we never get to the point where we really can't trust anything, but that's where we are, and it's on them.
No, I think we talk all the time about the fact that people are turning to independent journalism and independent coverage and live streams and things like that, because they're not getting the truth. They don't trust any of their institutions anymore. It doesn't matter if it's a government or press or anything else.
Well, that goes back to what Elon Musk was saying.
Yeah.
Like, sure, it'll be covered universally, but let the world decide.
Yeah.
Let the world see who's to blame for it.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of principle that he's referring to there. Is the court of public opinion is well aware of how disingenuous the media are nowadays.
Yeah.
The media can say whatever they want, but public are well wise to that now. They're just like, nah, talking shit, shut up. But yeah, season 2. Andre, do you lament season 2 being cancelled? Did you not want to meme on it?
First of all, I hope that this is true. Because there's like the thing, logic dictates that there should not be a season 2, but I'm not going to pop the champagne just yet. I sincerely hope there won't be one. I don't think there should be one. I think the whole thing needs to be retconned, so it never happened. We should never see She-Hulk again. The character is tainted now. And they already kind of like blew Daredevil and everything. So very happy that there won't be a season 2, but they need to undo the whole thing. I mean, they even ruined Hulk, and now he has like this son who looked like a complete. That's not the scar from the
that hairstyle.
Yeah, that sad, depressed little boy.
Hey, Dad, I'm non-binary.
You know what he looks like? He looks like what someone's done. Looks like what's like you're at a party, you pass out, you've had one too many beers, and something just one of your bros, bit of a knob, just comes up with a pair of clips over you. Looks like a right twat. Absolutely unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Well, look, season 2 cancelled. Nick, your fledgling entertainment-based channel, you could have memed on that so hard.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's plenty of other stuff that'll be doing that we could meme on though, for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, anyway, I thought that was funny. Did I get to all the super chats? I think I did get to all the super chats. Thank you so much, everyone, as well. We've had a good viewership today, like 870 people, pretty solid stuff. So thank you so much. We've got another topic to go to now, which I think. Did you delete the thing? I think you deleted
What thing?
it.
Which thing?
Oh no, you didn't. Next topic. Just forget I said that. Woo. I couldn't find it.
You can't blame me for bringing it up today.
No. Zack Snyder did this like big expose for Rebel Moon, right? Big expose for Rebel Moon, a Hollywood Reporter. Side note, I was invited to the red carpet premiere of Rebel Moon next week. I put my name down. I'm not sure if I'm going to go to it or not yet. So.
Oh, you should totally go.
You should go.
No, it's a lot, mate. It's a long time to be sat on my ass. That's a long time. That's going to be a long ass film, you know it. So I don't know. Anyway, point is, I might go, but we'll see. Anyway, point is, it's also Thursday, so I'd have to miss the show. Do you want me to miss the show?
No.
Do you want me to miss the show?
No.
But anyway,
not for Zack Snyder.
Well, I digress. He talks about the Flash. He talks about Ezra Miller, and he talks about Amber Turd, and it's the most tone deaf thing ever. So he's kept in touch with some old pals from DC World. He occasionally talks to Ezra Miller, lending support to the actor he cast as the Flash throughout their recent mental health and legal challenges.
Whose
emphasis on legal challenges? They did a great job in that Flash movie, Snyder says. It's very difficult to play against yourself.
Real quick, let me just chime in on this right here. I finally watched the Flash movie the other night for the first time. And literally, I kid you not, within the first 20, 30 minutes, maybe even less than that, I was like, I don't even know if I literally wanted to just turn it off. Literally out of that entire movie, there was probably maybe 15 to 20 minutes of clips or moments that I literally could have clipped out and been like, just watch these. That's the only thing worth seeing in the entire movie.
You want to get nuts? Yeah. Let's get nuts.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Anyway, so that's quite funny. Still, it's that tone deafness. This is the intro to tone deaf for Zack Snyder. All right. It's a little bit tone deaf, but it's not, he's just lending some support. Gets worse. It gets much worse. So he's been dismayed to see Amber Turd suffer online abuse amid controversy over her divorce from Johnny Depp. That wasn't what the controversy was over.
Yeah, and that was her own making.
It wasn't over the divorce.
No.
That wasn't the controversy.
Nope.
What fucking world are you living in? I just don't get it, says Snyder. If other people don't like her, I don't know what to say. I would work with her in a second.
Oh, I'm sure he would.
Did he get divorced? Did he get divorced?
Well, not yet,
No,
but
I
he's
think
going
so.
to now.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
what I figured. All right.
So that's it. That's the whole segment because I thought we could meme on this for a little bit.
We can.
Oh Lord.
Look.
Oh, what about Kryborg? Did you jump over that part?
He didn't mention it.
Well, he's in the new film, and he chimed into this part. He says he's weathered the storm in a way not many people could or get to do.
Again, another storm of his own fucking making.
Yeah.
He's literally making up excuses for 3 fucking people who made their own beds, and now they have to fucking sleep in them.
Yep. Did this person
with Amber, it really sucks since she's shit in it. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah.
Oh.
And did the person interview doing that he was giving these quotes to, did they say, so do you have a comment on her, shitting in the bed or any of that stuff? I mean, does he even know about any of it? Did he even watch any of the trial?
Everyone knows about the shit in bed.
Like, it's not, do you have a comment on her shitting in the bed? Like, do you have a comment on her shitting in the bed and later shitting in the streets of Spain on camera?
Oh, yeah, I completely forgot about that. Yeah.
She does have a
saw her
problem
the other day.
Yeah.
She does have a problem finding the restroom. Let's just admit that.
Yeah. For real, I saw her the other day. I just didn't realize until afterwards, like, oh, so that really was her.
She looks a little rough, doesn't she? Right now?
Yeah, she did.
She looks hella rough now, man.
Yeah, she looked rough. I was
like
thinking,
mega rough.
I was like,
they
thinking,
only hired her for.
Yeah, I was like
thinking,
thinking like, whoa, that woman over there, that really looks like Amber Heard. If I didn't know she possibly couldn't be here, I would have thought it was her. And then I saw
you know why you didn't know
it was her.
You know why you didn't immediately know it was her?
She wasn't busy sitting on the street taking a dump.
That is exactly why. That is exactly why. Because she's been doing that. She did it in Spain, didn't she? She shot on the street
she did. Yeah, it was in Mallorca.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Just dropping
camera.
some bombs on the floor. Wherever, just leaving a trail of shit wherever you go.
Well, that's one hell of a niche to conquer OnlyFans with.
Well, and look, we're going to get more of that same shit coming up in a week or so or two. Isn't that when we get Aqua Dude, bro?
I think it's around the 20th of December, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
Like,
so a couple 3 weeks.
Water Dude, bro, yeah. Water Dude, bro, too.
Yeah.
Terrible. Oh, so funny. So funny. So, I mean, there you go. I just thought it was tone deaf. Like, just that comment of, well, she suffered some abuse because she divorced Johnny Depp.
I figured it out. Zack Snyder is he's the island of misfit toys. He's going to take all the broken people and remake them.
Well, that may be, but also you got to remember he's not associated with Geeks and Gamers, but he is associated with Kryborg, Amber Turd, and I can't even say the nickname I got for the other guy, but anyway, look, probably three of the most notorious people in Hollywood right now. So he's just making excuses.
He's fine aligning himself with them. But goodness me, and any online commentator, no. Got to remove myself from them. Bad, fucking outrageous, absolutely outrageous. Dear oh dear. Well, I thought that was quite funny. Yeah. Anyway, any other comments on that?
He's delusional as fuck, but it's Zack Snyder, so it's another day that ends in fucking Y. Like, I love that he's doubled down on this because this just goes to show what I keep trying to tell people, because there's a lot of people who are Snyder bros who like to think that Zack is not woke as fuck. And he's not this kind of an idiot. It's like, yes, he is. He has a cognitive dissonance when it comes to these people, because if he doesn't side with Amber Turd, she will kill him. Yeah. If he doesn't side with Ezra Miller, he will probably start a war with him. If he doesn't side with Kryborg, he'll be called racist. So again, he knows how the game is played. He's not going to win this game, unfortunately. That's why he's working at Netflix.
Yeah. Well,
he's not even making technically theatrical films anymore. Go ahead. Sorry, Culture.
No, I was just going to say, This is going to be 3.5 hours long.
Ugh. And that is why I'm not going to the premiere. I
blame Tom for that.
Fucking hell.
What did I do?
3.5 hours.
You didn't work hard enough to be an editor and fix this problem.
That's a long time.
So
it's dropping on Netflix though too, right? Or Max?
Yeah, I get to see it 2 weeks before people.
Then he threatened us with like a 6-hour version down the road, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, technically I think that's the two movies combined, but I could be wrong.
With more songs.
It's been a long time since I've been on a red carpet. I do like them. They are.
You know what? If Ridley Scott and Uwe Boll had a baby, it would be Zack Snyder.
Yeah, I am tempted just for the lols because it might be fun. But
yeah.
Anyway,
I'm more interested if Manute Bowl is actually in a film.
And then Michael Bay just came and pissed on it. That's Zack Snyder
with lens flare,
right?
With lens flare.
Yeah.
Up for now. That'll be good.
Pissed in it in slow mo. It's got to be pissed in it in slow mo.
In slow mo. With a hot chick over the shoulder.
With the gray haze over it.
I ain't seen a Michael Bay movie in a minute.
Oh my god!
Can't even remember the last
I think
Michael Bay movie.
I definitely think we can shuffle on from this. We got one last topic to get to. I think you guys will enjoy this because it's kind of interesting, but kind of not. I don't know what to think of it, but the director themselves is absolutely incredible. Generally, I do like the director a lot. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about the first look at Anya Taylor-Joy as Furiosa. Don't know what to make of it, guys, because this is in the Mad Max spin-off that's not Mad Max, but is kind of Mad Max, but isn't Mad Max, which I didn't like the idea that they were going to be doing that anyway. I think that's really dumb. But I like George Miller. As a rule, I think he's good. If only just for this the sort of cinematic element, I like him, quite frankly. Like, he's something different. You go watch his movies, you're like, this will be different. And I like that. I'm not saying they're always good, but I like the fact that they're different. I know I'm not going to go to it and it'll be anything remotely like a Marvel or a DC film. You know, it's a break from the status quo. So I do appreciate that. So are we all ready to see Anya Taylor-Joy as Furiosa?
No.
Yeah, whip it out.
Don't care.
What?
This is at the CCXP Expo, or whatever it's called.
Is that a person?
It's Anya Taylor-Joy.
What is wrong with her? That is not her. That's like AI. That's not a person.
Yeah, no, it's like a statue type thing, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
Oh my god! Look, she's got like a mechanical arm.
Yeah, but
she had that.
She had that in Mad Max. I'm actually very disappointed by that because I would have imagined that this is
the story of how she got her arm.
She lost her arm because otherwise, why the hell would you do it?
Andre, mate, that is cringe. You can't have the story of how
the whole thing is cringe. I'm going to say something popular. The last Mad Max movie was proto woke. It was like ground zero for woke, guys. People have given Fury Road a fucking pass for way too long. It is a movie where Mad Max takes a back seat in his own fucking movie to a woman who is the answer to everything, who literally drives in a straight line for an hour and then turns.
Oh, yeah,
it is a piece of shit movie that looks good. I'm sorry. Everybody overpraised the hell out of it.
Nah, man. It's like an extended music
video.
They
gave me no reason for Mad Max to be in that movie.
No, I'll give you that. And also they did destroy his car straight away, which really pissed me off. You can't destroy that. That fucking annoyed the shit out of me. But we got new cars.
I wish I was more excited. I'd be more excited if it wasn't for the last film. I'm sorry.
New cars? New cars? That's a chopped... Was that like a Model A? It looks a bit like a Model A. Like a chopped Model A type thing. That's sick. That is sick. Do we like the car at least?
I think it's pretty cool looking.
Isn't that a Ford bucket rod? It looks like a Ford bucket hot rod.
Yeah, like a Ford Model A. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like a chopped one, chopped top.
Yeah. I'd get more excited if he was telling me he was making old man, Mad Max and bringing back Mel Gibson.
Oh, God, that would be awesome. Yeah,
I'd be game for that.
yeah.
Fuck
I don't know, look,
yes.
I'd be all
I'm
for
just-
that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That's a big turbo as well. Nice. Anyway,
Sorry, I'm
do
not
I
trying
think
to be
this
a
is gonna
party
amazing?
pooper.
No. Honestly, I don't think this is going to be exceptional. I said I think this will be interesting at the very least. The thing I like about George Miller, and I do think he's a good director. Again, you know, whether you like him from his script is a different story. But as a director, he's really good. You know, I think personally, and it's good to see something different. I like the different stuff that's out there. George Miller releasing something, it's like Nolan, for instance. Right, when a Nolan movie's announced, your ears perk up, and you always go a bit like, I'm keen to check it out. You know, I watched the trailer, right? Yes, no, everyone, do we kind of agree like that? Christopher Nolan,
Kind of.
always keen to watch a trailer.
Yeah,
Kind of.
I came back around to Chris Nolan after Oppenheimer because I was like,
I still
Well, so this
haven't
is-
seen that.
but yeah, so yeah, I get what you're saying though. Yeah,
Well, that's the same mentality I have with George Miller. Because, I mean, he invented bloody Mad Max, and then he went off and did fucking Penguin movies and stuff. The weirdest career direction change you've ever had in your life. Like, it's such a weird career change. All the stuff he goes to do, I just find him a fascinating individual. And also, this is fascinating as well, because he made this during or after he sued Warner Brothers. So I think that's interesting in and unto itself as well. Because he literally sued Warner Brothers for unpaid fees on Mad Max. Took him to court.
and that's not the only
Crazy.
Peter Jackson had to sue him too, and a few others have. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, I can believe it.
that
But
goes
look.
to my story earlier about when New Line got broke up into Warner Brothers. But yeah,
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't know what I make. I don't know what to make of this. All in all, do I think it's going to be good? No idea. Literally
I actually
no
like
idea.
this actress. I don't dislike her, but she's got to be in the right parts, and I don't see her as a young Charlize Theron, even though I didn't really care for Furiosa Road anyway. But yeah,
No,
I don't know.
I didn't. Yeah. Well, oh, excuse me. One of the good things you got Chris Hemsworth playing Morton Joe as well, which is pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. No, don't think that's pretty cool.
Has Chris Hemsworth got a contract to be in like every other movie now, or what?
I think so.
He was in it. Well, they shot this a while ago now. They didn't.
He's been in a lot of movies. Him and Chris Pratt. It's like,
yeah.
Not that they're
I
bad
think
actors. I'm just
And George Miller's come out and confirmed this is not like Fury Road, where it's set across like one day. You know, he literally acknowledged, Fury Road set across like one day. You know, this isn't that. This is set across multiple years or something like that, he said. So that'll be interesting. So we Andre, we may get what you want. We may.
I was just going to say that.
I was just thinking that because when I see that picture, I'm like, oh, this has to be towards the end of the movie, where she's like being made into some golden goddess or something like that. Maybe she had to sacrifice her arm to get there or something. I don't know. But anyway, if that is what she looks like at the beginning of the movie, then they're telling the wrong story.
Yeah. Well, there you go. What closing thoughts on first look at Anya Taylor-Joy as Furiosa?
She's good. Hope for the best. And I would say though, as big a fan as I am of Mad Max Fury Road, as much fun as I had with it, Tom is right about it.
What, overhyped, overpraised?
I know it's ground zero. It's like one of the things that brought on the vote,
especially with all the Oscar stuff.
The movie looked so amazing and everything, but it's true. It's one of the movies where the hero is completely and utterly sidelined to the point where he didn't even have to be there.
That's the whole reason I never even watched it.
That movie, you could cut Mad Max out of the script altogether in one rewrite that you could do over a weekend.
Yeah. Oh dear, oh dear. Dear, oh dear. I don't think we've got any more Super chats to get to. Let me just double check that. No, we don't. So, just cracking my spine. So what I will say, Culture, do you want to promote some shiz?
Of course I do. Check out my channel, Culture Casino. Drop my my Godzilla video. I got a couple more things coming out, and then I'm going to be on various streams later today, including Comics Division, where I'd like to see a lot of you show up tonight. It'd be a lot of fun for Thursday night throwdown. Be a good time. So check it out.
Excellent. Tom, what you got going on, bud?
Midnight's Edge After Dark. Other than that, I don't know where I'll be. I wind up places.
Yeah, well, the pro show starts in 20.
I don't think I was invited, so yeah.
Andre, what you got going on?
We have actually published a lot of videos on the Midnight's Edge recently. We know that not everyone gets notifications for them, so just take a trip over to Midnight's Edge and check out our most recent videos. For instance, the one about Kevin Feige possibly jumping ship. That's a fun one. And also tomorrow we'll be back with Midnight's Edge in the morning, so check that out.
Excellent. Nick, what you got going on, dude?
Tonight is our first Thursday night stream that we've moved from Saturdays to Thursdays. So we will be doing that tonight, every Thursday at 7 Central. And then a week from tomorrow, we'll premiere our first afternoon show from 2 to 3, or just 1 hour,
Excellent.
quick news wrap up of the week sort of type deal. So that'll be next week.
Nice. Well, ladies and gents, I am busy toing and froing to London this weekend to do my master's degree. Will be pretty hectic. Still be able to do content when I come back. So just keep that in mind, though. I'll try and get some things prepped here and there, but a lot of it may be released quite late. But yeah, that's it really from me, to be honest. Still trying to secure Godzilla -1 tickets somewhere, but it's very difficult to get a hold of. But I will power on through and try and figure that out. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching your favorite podcast. We'll be back next Tuesday and then next Thursday as well, of course. So thank you so much. Hope you all have a great evening from me and everyone else. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.